Time seemed to stretch infinitely in that moment. Mrs. Gu's withered hand, carrying deep-seated malice, drew closer and closer to Lily Qiao's cheek. However, the anticipated stinging pain never arrived. Her wrist was firmly gripped in midair by a steadier, more powerful hand. Ethan, did you see that? Mrs. Gu's wrist was painfully clamped, and she couldn't break free, so she frantically appealed to her son. I just tried to teach her a lesson, and she dared to lay hands on me. This kind of woman. Why are you keeping her if not to divorce her? Lily's eyes were colder than the crystal chandelier in the hotel corridor. She looked at the face twisted by rage, stating word by word, if you want a divorce, fine. According to the law, half of his marital assets belong to me. Are you prepared for that? Nonsense. You cheated in the marriage. You should leave with nothing. Mrs. Gu shrieked, finally revealing her true intention. So that was it. Lily understood completely. No wonder, despite having already signed an agreement, they made such an elaborate scene tonight. They didn't even want to give her that 100 million. They wanted to use the accusation of infidelity to make her leave with nothing. Ethan Gu stepped forward, his face grim, his tone his usual attempt to mediate. Release my mother immediately. She's an elder. Even if she scolds you a bit, it's only right. Scold a bit. Lily sneered, her gaze cutting across him like a knife. You call what just happened scolding a bit? Even if she did hit you, so what? Ethan's voice was laced with impatience. My mother raised my sister and me alone. It wasn't easy for her. As her daughter-in-law, can't you just put up with it? Always the same argument. Lily's ears were practically numb from hearing it. Because his mother had a hard life, was she destined to be humiliated, verbally abused, and have her dignity trampled upon? Ethan Gu, your mother's sacrifices for you have nothing to do with me. She never sacrificed anything for me. Lily's eyes, at that moment, completely lost their last warmth. I used to endure because I loved you. Now, I don't love you anymore, so I won't endure. Don't love anymore. These 3 words were like 3 ice picks, stabbing fiercely into Ethan's heart. He looked at her familiar yet strange face, and a terrible thought emerged. She no longer endured because she no longer loved him? Was it because of someone else? Benjamin White. Lily released Mrs. Gu's hand, her gaze directly challenging Ethan. My parents raised me with their love, not for me to marry into your family and be slapped by your mother. If you want a divorce, fine. I will take what is rightfully mine, not a single penny less. You cheated first, and you still want money? Our Gu family has plenty of money to hire the best lawyers to make sure you don't get a single dime. Clara Gu shouted arrogantly from the side. Cheating. Lily turned to her, a dangerous curve on her lips. Are you referring to the person who drove me home today? Oh, I forgot to tell you. That person was Benjamin White of the White family. So, Clara Gu, are you now trying to tell everyone that Benjamin White is my affair partner? What? Clara's face instantly went ashen. The name Benjamin White was a taboo in the capital. Offend him, and the entire Gu family would be dragged down with her. Ethan also realized the seriousness of the situation. He immediately whispered to his sister, take Mom upstairs first. Not a word about today's incident must leave this house. 3 days later, the Royal Hotel's grand ballroom was filled with lavish clothing and clinking glasses. Vanessa insisted on dressing Lily Qiao in a deep blue starry night gown, which made her skin appear ethereal and her demeanor coolly elegant. Her purpose for being here was simple, to return Benjamin White's expensive clothes and be done with him once and for all. But fate, it seemed, always had a knack for malicious coincidences. At the hotel entrance, she unexpectedly encountered Ethan Gu and Sophia Song, both impeccably dressed. Ethan looked at his radiant wife, stunning him to a momentary daze. The admiration in his eyes quickly gave way to possessiveness and suspicion. You're stalking me here? What do you want? Lily simply felt speechless. Just then, her mobile phone vibrated. It was a text from Mrs. Gu, room 1205, regarding the divorce agreement. If you don't come, you can forget about that 100 million. How coincidental. It was the same hotel. Lily briefly instructed Vanessa, then headed to the elevator alone. She knew it was likely a trap, but she also knew that some matters needed a definitive end. When she opened the door to room 1205 with her key card, a faint, subtly sweet scent washed over her. Her heart tightened, and she instantly held her breath. It was a sedative gas. She feigned to stumble as she walked into the room, and as her body collapsed, she discreetly placed a micro-camera, smaller than a fingernail, under a potted plant leaf directly facing the bed. Soon after, a feeling of weakness overcame her, and she slumped by the bed. The door opened, and Mrs. Gu and Clara Gu entered, followed by 2 burly men with rough faces. Haha, Lily, didn't expect this, did you? Clara walked up to her, looking down, her face filled with the pleasure of revenge. Did you really think you'd get 100 million? Dream on. Lily struggled to lift her head, her gaze icy. Is this what you invited me to discuss? Who told you to be so greedy? Mrs. Gu cursed spitefully. That money all belongs to my son. You won't get a single cent. All right, this woman is all yours. Clara smiled at the 2 thugs. Ruin her as badly as possible. and remember to take plenty of photos and videos. The two men let out lewd laughs, approaching Lily step by step. Lily's body was paralyzed, but her right hand, hidden by the long gown, tightly gripped her mobile phone. Her fingers moved silently on the smooth screen, each tap incredibly precise. This was an instinct honed in Special Forces training. Have you thought about Ethan Gu doing this? I'm still his wife, she shouted with all her strength, trying to buy time. My brother has Sophia now. Who cares about a cast-off wife like you? Clara scoffed. Lily pressed her lips together. On the screen, a number had already been dialed. She set her phone's volume to the lowest setting, so only she could hear the faint dial tone of hope. This was her last chance for him. If he answered, if he came, everything might still be salvageable. In the banquet hall, Ethan Gu was holding a wine glass, searching for new investment opportunities. His mobile phone vibrated. He took it out and saw Lily Qiao flashing on the screen. He frowned, about to answer, when Sophia's song gently interjected. Is that Lily's call? Is she upset because I'm with you? Maybe I should leave, and she can come join you instead. Ignore her. Ethan felt a surge of irritation and casually pressed the hang-up button. In his mind, it was just another of her tiresome attempts to cling on. He had more important things to do. In room 1205, that faint, busy tone, like a cold hammer, shattered the last remaining spark of hope in Lily's heart. It was a profound, bone-chilling coldness. She had given him countless chances, only to be met with increasingly deeper disappointment. She looked up at Clara and Mrs. Gu's triumphant faces and said calmly, "We were family for 3 years, at least. If you stop now, I can pretend nothing happened." Haha, you still expect us to let it go? Clara's laughter was shrill. It's because you're family that I specifically picked 2 strong, healthy men for you. Lily slowly lowered her eyes. On the mobile phone screen hidden by her dress, she had successfully hacked into the hotel's network system. Since he chose to abandon her, she would let him see with his own eyes the ugly truth of the family he defended. Her fingers tapped rapidly on the screen, executing the final command. In the banquet hall, Ethan Gu, accompanied by Sophia's song, was walking towards the distinguished and aloof man surrounded by people, Benjamin White. Mr. White, hello, I'm Ethan Gu of Gu Tech. Last time at the stables. Before he could finish, the giant LED main screen in the center of the banquet hall suddenly flickered. The elegant background music abruptly stopped, and all eyes were drawn to it. Then, a sharp, venomous female voice, amplified through the top-tier sound system, resonated throughout the entire banquet hall. Hurry up and deal with her. I want her to leave with nothing, not a single penny. Ethan Gu's body stiffened. That voice. It was his mother. He abruptly looked up at the screen, and what appeared was a live feed of room 1205. His mother and sister were instructing 2 burly men with the most malicious intentions, and the target they sought to destroy was his wife, Lily Qiao. The moment Lily Qiao pushed open the heavy wooden door to Ethan Gu's office, time seemed to freeze. The air was thick with the faint, expensive aroma of cigar smoke, mingled with Sophia Song's familiar gardenia perfume, sickeningly sweet. But what truly stopped her breath was the sight before her. Her husband, Ethan Gu, was fastening a ruby necklace around Sophia Song's slender, pale neck. Lily's gaze was fixated on that necklace. The pendant was a pigeon's blood ruby, cut into a perfect heart shape, shimmering with an enchanting, dazzling light in the afternoon sun, like a drop of congealed blood, scorching her eyes. It wasn't just ordinary jewelry, it was her mother's keepsake. Not long ago, when she saw it in the auction catalog, her heart had nearly stopped. In her 3 years of marriage, it was the first and only time she had ever asked Ethan, begging him to acquire it, no matter the cost. Tisk, it's just a necklace. Look at you, staring like that. A flippant voice broke the silence. It was Leo Liu, Ethan's close friend, lounging on the sofa, his contempt undisguised. I always say orphans are shallow, haven't seen much of the world. Orphan. The word pierced Lily's heart like a cold needle. But she ignored Leo's sneers, all her emotions coalescing into a single action. She lunged forward, disregarding everyone's astonished looks, and reached straight for Sophia Song's neck. She was going to reclaim what belonged to her mother. However, her wrist was caught midair by a hand like an iron clamp. It was Ethan Gu. His grip was strong, squeezing her bones painfully. I've already given the necklace to Sophia. His voice was deep, yet as cold as ice. But you promised me. Lily lifted her head abruptly, a rare fury blazing across her delicate face, her voice trembling slightly with agitation. You promised you'd get me this necklace. Ethan's handsome brows furrowed tightly, his displeasure almost palpable. Stop being dramatic. This is my gift to Sophia, celebrating her promotion to the youngest female co-pilot in the country. Dramatic? The 2 words felt like a dull knife repeatedly carving into her heart. All her hopes, her only memento of her mother, were, in his eyes, just an irrational tantrum. A chill ran from Lily's feet straight to her head. What if I insist? Ethan, I've told you before, a woman like Lily isn't worthy of you. Leo added fuel to the fire. She's vain and only has looks. How can she compare to an independent and outstanding woman like Sophia? You should just divorce her. Their secret marriage was known to only a few in their circle, but everyone knew that Sophia Song was the woman Ethan truly loved, the one who held his heart. Don't talk nonsense. Sophia finally spoke, elegantly tossing her long hair, a hint of offended disdain on her face. I have no interest in being a homewrecker. With that, she simply reached up and took off the necklace, her movements as casual as plucking a weed. Then, as Lily watched in disbelief, she flicked her wrist, and the ruby necklace, worth millions, was lightly tossed at Lily's feet like a piece of trash, landing with a dull thud. That dazzling red lay on the cold marble floor, like her mother's bleeding heart. Lily's eyes instantly welled up. She could imagine how much her mother had cherished that necklace. Slowly, she knelt, the cold floor sending shivers through her thin clothes. Her fingertips trembled as she carefully gathered the cold chain into her palm. The sharp edges of the gem dug deep into her flesh, causing a stinging pain, but this pain was a fraction of what she felt in her heart. Sophia looked down at her, her tone full of condescending superiority. What a woman should truly pursue is knowledge and perspective. Instead of fighting with me over a necklace, you should educate yourself. Exactly, Leo chimed in mockingly. What knowledge could she possibly have? Who knows what garbage university she graduated from? If Ethan hadn't been kind enough to give her a cushy job at his company, she'd probably be sweeping the streets right now. Lily's heart grew colder, inch by inch. She slowly stood up, tightly clutching the cold, stinging necklace in her hand. She didn't look at Leo, her gaze, like a sharp sword, aimed directly at Sophia. You claim you're not a homewrecker, so why do you so calmly accept a multi-million-dollar necklace from another woman's husband? Sophia's face changed slightly, then she scoffed. I only saw it as a casual gift between friends. I didn't even care about its value. Is that so? Lily's lips curved into a cold arc. So friends casually give gifts worth millions. Has Leo, who is also your friend, ever given you something so valuable? The single sentence left Sophia speechless and froze Leo's expression. Enough, Ethan finally interjected, his face etched with irritation. It's just a necklace. Don't make a big deal out of it. Making a big deal. Lily squeezed the necklace tightly in her hand, her nails almost digging into her flesh. He didn't know that years ago, in a war-torn foreign land, her mother had used this very necklace to trade for medicine and food, saving the lives of 50 orphans from the brink of death. This necklace was the embodiment of her mother's belief, the brilliance of her humanity. An immense sadness welled up. Lily took a deep breath, forcing down her surging emotions. She remembered the call she received before entering the office, the news that filled her with both anticipation and grief. She lifted her eyes, meeting Ethan's gaze, her voice eerily calm. Fine, we won't talk about the necklace. Tomorrow, my parents' ashes will be flown back from overseas. I hope you'll accompany me to bring them home. In life, her parents' biggest concern had been her marriage. She hoped that they could see that the man she married would accompany her in this last, and most important, act, giving her and her parents in heaven a sense of dignity. Ethan paused, seemingly just remembering the matter. Sophia's eyes flickered, while Leo had already scoffed. Lily, you've got some nerve. Making up such an excuse to get Ethan to go with you, who would ship an orphan's parents' ashes all the way from overseas. Such a show. Lily ignored them. In her world, only Ethan mattered. She needed an answer. Ethan's handsome face showed a flicker of hesitation, but he finally nodded. All right, I'll go with you tomorrow. Having received this promise, Lily said no more and turned to leave the suffocating office. As she closed the door, Leo's disdainful voice clearly carried out. Are you really going to go with that woman? Who would travel so far to retrieve an orphan's parents' ashes all the way from overseas? Just a pretense. Each repetition of orphan felt like countless steel needles, piercing her heart. She lowered her head, rubbing the cold necklace in her palm, silently murmuring, Mom, Dad, tomorrow, I'm bringing you home. However, the next day, as the appointed time passed minute by minute, Ethan's figure never appeared at the villa gate. Lily stood in the empty living room, unease coiling around her heart like a vine. She finally couldn't help but dial his number. From the other end came Ethan's highly impatient voice. Sophia's mother accidentally twisted her ankle. Sophia and I are with her at the hospital. Before he finished speaking, a soft female voice interjected. It was Sophia. Ethan, come quickly, help my mom. Okay. Ethan's reply was so swift, so gentle. Then, without waiting for Lily to say another word, he mercilessly hung up. Beep, beep, beep. The dial tone echoed in her ear, and Lily felt all her blood freeze in an instant. Her throat felt constricted, as if something was tightly lodged there. She wanted to scream, to question, but no sound would come out. How ridiculous. Her husband chose to accompany his true love's mother for a minor ankle sprain rather than accompany his wife to welcome the spirits of her parents who had died for their country. She took a deep, icy breath. She turned resolutely, left the villa, got in her car, and drove straight to that solemn place. the military camp. Even 3 years after her retirement, as she stood before the tall, imposing gates of the military camp, her back was as straight as a spear. She got out of the car, her steps steady, each one seemingly treading on memories of the past. She walked to the guard post, stood at attention, and slowly raised her right hand, giving a flawless military salute. She opened her mouth, using all her strength to make her voice pierce through the wind, echoing through the sky. Lily Qiao, retired soldier of the former Flying Eagle Special Forces, has come to retrieve the ashes of former peacekeeping officer General Qiao and military Dr. Dr. Guan. The moment her words fell, the heavy gates of the military camp slowly opened inward. 2 rows of soldiers marched out in perfect unison, lining both sides, and simultaneously raised their right hands, giving her the highest military salute. Immediately after, an elderly man in a crisp military uniform, with a general's star on his shoulder, personally carried a black sandalwood urn covered with a vibrant national flag, walking toward her step by step. It was her old commanding officer, General Zhu. That vivid red, like a flame, instantly stung Lily's eyes. It was the belief her parents had defended with their lives, the color woven into their blood. "Child," General Zhu said, reaching her, his voice heavy with sorrow. "When they were found, your parents' remains were inseparable. So, they were interred together." Lily looked at the urn beneath the red national flag, tears welling in her eyes, yet stubbornly refusing to fall. "That's good." Her voice was hoarse. "Mom and Dad loved each other so much. Being together in death, they must have wanted that." General Zhu nodded, then suddenly straightened, his expression solemn, and formally handed her the urn. "The spirits of our martyrs live forever." Behind him, the soldiers shouted in unison, their voices shaking the sky. "The spirits of our martyrs live forever." Lily straightened her back, gave another solemn military salute, then extended both hands, steadily taking the heavy urn, and responded loudly. Lily Qiao is bringing her parents home. The weight of the urn felt like her parents' last embrace, heavy, yet giving her an unprecedented sense of peace. Her parents, who sacrificed themselves in a foreign land 3 years ago, she could finally bring them home. After the handover, General Zhu noticed she was alone and asked concernedly, "Where's your husband? Why didn't he come?" Lily lowered her eyes, her voice faint. "He's busy. He couldn't make it." General Zhu looked at the unconcealed weariness on her face, sighed heavily, and patted her shoulder. "Child, if things aren't going well out there, you can always come back. The gates of the military camp are always open for you." "Thank you, General Zhu." Lily felt a warmth in her heart. She carefully placed the urn in the passenger seat, fastened the seatbelt, and started the car. "Dad, Mom, I'm taking you home." However, when she returned to the villa, which she called home, carrying her parents' ashes, she was greeted by her mother-in-law's sharp, sarcastic voice. "Now that Sophia is back, and she's a co-pilot, you should quickly divorce Lily and marry Sophia." Ethan's low voice replied, "Sophia and I are just friends." "What friends? Big brother, you clearly like Sophia." Her sister-in-law, Clara Gu's, voice was full of disdain. "What is Lily? She's got no education, no career. How could she possibly be worthy of my brother?" These words, like poisoned daggers, stabbed fiercely into Lily's heart. 3 years of marriage. She had helped him start his business from scratch, staying up late for company affairs until her stomach bled, and all she got in return was, how could she possibly be worthy? She carried the urn, walking step by step into the living room. Clara was the first to see her and immediately shrieked, "Lily, how dare you eavesdrop on us? I'm walking into my own home in broad daylight. How is that eavesdropping?" Lily responded coldly. Ethan saw the urn in her hands, the bright red national flag strikingly visible, and a flicker of guilt crossed his eyes. He stepped forward. "I'm sorry today, Sophia's mother." Before he could finish, he was interrupted by an even sharper voice. "What is that? Ashes, Mrs. Gu?" Stared at Lily as if she had seen a ghost. "How dare you bring such inauspicious things into this house?" Inauspicious? These 2 words were sharper than any knife. Lily looked at her in disbelief. "These are my parents' ashes. They were martyrs who died for their country. I don't care what it is, ashes are bad luck." "Mrs. Gu shrieked unreasonably. "Get that thing out of my house immediately. You are not allowed to bring it in here." Lily hugged the urn tightly, as if protecting her own heart. "I'm not leaving. This is my home too." "Brother," Clara chimed in. "Mom just had eye surgery and can't be agitated. Make Lily leave immediately." All eyes turned to Ethan. He showed a flicker of struggle, but eventually, he said the cruelest words to Lily. "You should still go out first. Find somewhere. Just put the ashes somewhere." Lily's heart, at that moment, plummeted into an ice cellar. She stared at him, asking word by word, "Do you also think my parents' ashes are inauspicious, not even worthy of a temporary stay in our home?" His silence was the loudest answer. "Ethan Gu," she smiled, a smile uglier than tears. "Married for 3 years, I helped you start your business. Your mother's eyes were saved because I ran all over the capital to find the best doctor. I treated you as family, but did you ever respect my family? Enough, Lily. Stop being dramatic, he frowned, repeating the words that chilled her to the bone. What if I insist on keeping them here? She straightened her back and took a step forward. You dare. Mrs. Gu rushed forward in a fit of rage, raising her hand and slapping Lily hard across the face. As Lily staggered, Mrs. Gu extended her hand again, giving the urn in her arms a forceful push. Lily's pupils instantly constricted. In that critical moment, she burst forth with all her strength, tightly protecting the urn in her arms, letting herself fall back clumsily and hit the wall, but not allowing the urn to suffer even the slightest damage. If you don't leave now, believe me, I'll smash it. Mrs. Gu continued to curse maliciously. Lily, stop making my mother angry. Ethan's voice came, laced with warning. If anything happens to her, I won't forgive you. Huh. Lily laughed, enraged. She looked down at the cold urn in her arms. Dad, Mom, your daughter made a mistake. She really married the wrong man. His first startup capital, after all, came from your death benefits. Good, I'll leave. She lifted her head, forcing back her tears. Soldiers could bleed and die, but they would never cry for heartless people. She turned decisively, and in the astonished gaze of the Gu family, she strode out of that hell. After temporarily placing her parents' ashes at the funeral home, Lily walked out in a daze. A cold drizzle was falling outside, soaking her, but it was far less chilling than the cold within her. It was there that she brushed past a man. He was tall and slender, holding a black umbrella that obscured most of his face, revealing only a sharp jawline and a pair of thin lips that seemed to hold water. His eyes were like dead phoenix eyes, terrifyingly calm, as if nothing in the world could stir a ripple in them. The man was respectfully referred to as Mr. White. Even from a brief glance, the ominous aura made Lily's palms sweat. Back in the car, her mobile phone lit up with a text from Ethan. Mom and Clara have left. Come back after you've settled the ashes. We need to talk. Lily stared coldly at the message, started the car, and sped back. At the villa, Ethan saw her return and immediately stepped forward, opening his arms to gently embrace her. Lily, I'm sorry. I know you were wrong today. I'll make it up to you. His embrace, once her coveted warmth, now felt chilling to the bone. She wasn't the one who was wronged. It was her parents. As martyrs, after death, they couldn't even enter their daughter's home. What could he do to make up for that? She no longer needed this false warmth. Lily slowly, yet with exceptional firmness, pushed Ethan's embrace away. She lifted her head, looking at the man she once deeply loved, her gaze as calm as stagnant water, devoid of anger or sadness, only a complete finality. Ethan Gu. Her voice was clear and calm, each word like an ice pick, shattering the last vestiges of their relationship. Let's get a divorce. Let's get a divorce. As these 5 words clearly left Lily Qiao's lips, the warm light in the living room seemed to cool by several degrees. Ethan Gu's tender embracing motion froze mid-air, the apology and tenderness on his face instantly solidified, replaced by an expression of incredible shock. He slowly released her, his brows tightly furrowed, scrutinizing his wife as if she were a stranger. Divorce? His voice carried a hint of impatience and disdain. Just because my mother didn't let you bring your parents' ashes into the house today? His tone was dismissive, as if it were a trivial, easily forgivable minor family squabble. Lily's heart, at that moment, was drained of its last remaining warmth. She finally saw clearly. This man could not comprehend her pain, or rather, he disdained to understand it. They weren't his parents, so he felt nothing. It's not just that. Her voice was as calm as a frozen lake. It's also Sophia's song. If we divorce, you can legitimately marry her and fulfill your love story. I told you Sophia and I are just friends. Ethan's tone suddenly rose, his handsome face flushing with the anger of having a lie exposed. Can't you stop imagining things? Lily found it utterly laughable. The whole world knew about their ambiguous entanglement, yet he stubbornly used the veil of friendship to cover up the fact that he had already emotionally cheated, and perhaps even physically strayed. I'm tired, Ethan Gu. She tilted her head slightly, meeting his angry gaze, but her eyes held a desolate emptiness. I don't want to maintain this marriage anymore. There was no greater sorrow than a dead heart. For him, her heart was truly dead. Her calmness, far more than any hysterical argument, instilled fear in Ethan. A strong, elusive feeling seized him. The woman before him, with the same delicate, familiar face, was terrifyingly unfamiliar, as if she might vanish into thin air from his life at any second. If you're still worried, he took an urgent step forward, grabbing her hand, his tone suddenly softening. Then let's have a child. What? Lily stared at him in shock, as if she had heard the funniest joke of the century. Married for 3 years, he had never touched her. A mix of sadness and revulsion surged in her throat. Lily recoiled as if burned, violently shaking off his hand and fiercely rubbing the spot he had touched, as if it were something dirty. Ethan Gu, you're disgusting. His face instantly darkened, and his voice hardened. Lily, when we got married, I told you I wouldn't wrong you. I'll pretend I didn't hear what you just said. If you don't want children right now, we can wait. No need to wait, Lily coldly interrupted him. I will never have a child with you. Just then, a sharp mobile phone ring pierced the tense standoff between them. Ethan took out his phone. The moment he answered, Sophia's soft, slightly anxious voice clearly came from the receiver. Lily couldn't make out the specific content, but she saw the instant shift in Ethan's face to tenderness and concern. Okay, I'll be right there. He gently reassured the person on the other end. After hanging up, he didn't even dare to look Lily in the eye, simply tossing out, I have an urgent matter to attend to now. You should calm down. With that, he left without looking back. Lily stood in the empty living room, watching through the large French windows as his car lights cut through the night, driving away from the villa without hesitation. It was for Sophia again. Did he ever realize that each time he abandoned her for another woman, he had wronged her thousands of times over? The next day, before Lily even had a chance to draft a divorce agreement, she received a call from her mother-in-law. At the coffee shop, Mrs. Gu pushed a check across the table to her, her eyes arrogant, her tone aggressive. I'll give you 100 million. Divorce my son. Okay. Lily's answer was so crisp and decisive that it even startled Mrs. Gu. You're really willing. Mrs. Gu eyed her suspiciously, as if disbelieving she would give up the position of Mrs. Gu so easily. 100 million, and I'll sign immediately. Lily sneered inwardly. She was going to divorce him anyway. Now she'd get an extra 100 million. This money could be used for more meaningful things. Seeing her so straightforward, Mrs. Gu immediately pulled a document from her bag. It was a divorce agreement, and in the space for the husband's signature, Ethan Gu was signed in flourishing strokes. Lily looked at the familiar handwriting and asked faintly, Did he send you? Never mind that. A hint of guilt flashed across Mrs. Gu's face. In short, he's wanted to divorce you for a long time. Sign it quickly. Lily lowered her eyes, understanding. Ethan knew nothing about this. But what did it matter? She picked up the pen and neatly signed her name next to his. From this moment on, beyond legalities, she was free. That evening, to celebrate her impending new life, Lily invited her friend Vanessa to dinner at a high-end restaurant. As soon as they were seated, from the private room next door, separated by an elegant screen, came boisterous laughter and several names that were all too familiar to her. Ethan, when are you and Sophia getting married? You have to invite us for a drink. I think it'll be soon. What is that Lily anyway? Who knows what garbage university she graduated from? If Ethan hadn't kindly taken her in, she'd be starving on the streets. How dare she cling to the position of Mrs. Gu? Exactly. Our Sophia is a campus beauty from one of the country's best universities, and now she's the first female co-pilot for Cloud Airlines. Her resume is miles ahead of that orphan. Vanessa's face turned pale with anger, her chopsticks clattering. She was about to stand up and confront them, but Lily stopped her. They're talking about me. Lily's eyes were cold. I'll handle it myself. She stood up, calmly walked around the screen, and appeared before the group of men. Her sudden appearance brought the raucous table to an abrupt halt. Ethan Gu, Sophia Song, Liu Lu. Familiar yet ugly faces, all within her sight. Lily's gaze swept over everyone, a mocking smirk playing on her lips. Since you all are so eager for a wedding banquet, why don't I treat you now? Ethan's brows instantly furrowed into a frown. He stood up, his voice filled with suppressed anger. Stop making a scene. They're just running their mouths. There's no malice. Again, when she was being slandered, he chose to mediate. Lily looked at him in disappointment. What would constitute malice, then? Do I need to kneel down, slap myself, and admit I'm unworthy of marrying you? Ethan Gu, don't forget, you were the one who proposed. His face turned extremely ugly. He reached out to pull her. Let's talk about this at home. No, Lily pushed his hand away, her gaze shifting to Sophia, whose face had gone pale. Let's talk about it here. Speaking of which, you two truly are a perfect match. One cheats in marriage, the other knowingly acts as the other woman. I wish you both a happy marriage and may you both be childless. Lily, what right do you have to say that about Sophia? Leo slammed his hand on the table, standing up. If Ethan doesn't love Sophia, does he have to love an orphan from a garbage university like you? You're talking nonsense. Vanessa could hold back no longer and rushed over. What garbage university? Lily graduated from the National Defense University. At this, the table erupted in laughter. Ha ha. A garbage university student claiming to be from the National Defense University? That's hilarious. Sophia also regained her composure, elegantly standing up and looking down at Lily, her eyes full of scorn. If you want to brag, you need to have the ability. Falsely claiming credentials like this will only make you a clown. Just then, Sophia sharply noticed a group of people approaching in the distance, led by an elegant, scholarly old man. Her eyes lit up, and she called out loudly, Professor Davies. What a coincidence, you're dining here too. Professor Davies recognized her and nodded. Sophia immediately smiled. Professor Davies, you're a professor at the National Defense University. We have someone at our table who claims to be your student. Do you recognize her? All eyes, eager for a show, turned to Lily. Lily, however, calmly met the professor's gaze, walked forward slowly, and bowed slightly. Professor Davies, long time no see. Professor Davies's face lit up with surprise upon seeing her. He patted her shoulder warmly. Lily, I didn't expect to see you here. About your parents. My condolences. The table's mocking laughter instantly froze. Sophia's smile stiffened, and she asked in disbelief, Professor Davies, you really know her? Of course I know her, Professor Davies said, as if it were obvious. She's one of my most outstanding students. She was the top science student in the capital that year, and her admission to our National Defense University caused quite a stir. Top science student in the capital, National Defense University. These words exploded like thunderclaps in everyone's ears. Sophia's face flushed red and then pale. Just moments ago, she had mocked others as clowns. Now, she herself seemed like the biggest joke. Ethan also stared at Lily in shock. These honors, enough to make anyone hold their head high. She had never mentioned a word of them to him in 3 years. Professor Davies, is this your student? A cold, clear male voice suddenly spoke. Only then did everyone notice that accompanying Professor Davies was a man with an aura so powerful it was impossible to ignore. It was Benjamin White, the man Lily had brushed past at the funeral home that day. Indeed, Professor Davies introduced. Lily, this is Mr. Benjamin White, from White Corp. At the mention of that name, everyone present gasped. The new head of the White family, the most formidable figure in the capital. Lily met his deep, still black eyes and politely extended her hand. Hello, Mr. White. Just then, the restaurant's calm was shattered by the sharp crack of a gunshot. A middle-aged man, appearing from nowhere, pulled out a gun and began firing wildly in Benjamin White's direction. Screams erupted, and the crowd descended into chaos. In a flash, Lily felt a huge push from behind, sending her staggering uncontrollably to the side. Out of the corner of her eye, she clearly caught a sight she would never forget. Ethan Gu, who had pushed her, had turned and was tightly shielding Sophia's song in his arms, using his own body as a human shield for another woman. In the crisis of gunfire, his subconscious choice was to push his wife away and save the woman he loved. Lily's heart, at that moment, was utterly frozen into a block of ice, then shattered into powder. She stared expressionlessly at his back. He hadn't even thought whether she, whom he had pushed away, might be hit by a stray bullet. As if feeling her gaze, Ethan looked back, a fleeting flicker of guilt crossing his face. He probably thought he could just sweet-talk her later. After all, she had always been such an easy woman to appease. As he thought this, he saw Lily's lips, silently, word by word, from a few words to him. Ethan Gu, I don't want you anymore. That moment, a sharp pang of pain shot through Ethan Gu's heart. The gunshots quickly ceased, and White Corp's bodyguards swiftly apprehended the gunman. But the gunman still aimed his weapon at Benjamin White, his emotions agitated. Benjamin White, however, showed no fear, even walking step by step toward him. The moment the man, in terror, pulled the trigger, Benjamin White snatched the gun, then pressed it against the man's temple. If you dare to come and kill me, you should be prepared to die. Benjamin White's voice was cold as his fingers slowly tightened on the trigger. Put down the gun. A clear female voice rang out. Unbeknownst to anyone, Lily had silently appeared behind Benjamin White, a black handgun pressed against the back of his head. If he committed a crime, the law will judge him. You shouldn't decide his life or death, Lily said coldly. I've always disliked busybodies. Benjamin White turned, his murderous intent palpable. Just then, a large number of police officers rushed in. Don't move. Officers, I called the police, Lily said loudly, then casually displayed the gun in her hand. This? It's a toy gun. I just bought it while shopping today. Benjamin White's movement of wiping his hands paused abruptly. He had been fooled by a toy gun. For the first time, his deep, still eyes showed a flicker of something called amusement, and his thin lips curved slightly. Miss Chow, I retract what I said earlier. You are far more interesting than I imagined. Due to the incident, everyone was taken back to the police station for statements. Emerging from the interrogation room, Lily was met with Ethan's fury. How dare you point a toy gun at Benjamin White? Offending him is offending the entire Gu group. Husband and wife. Lily sneered. When the gunshots rang out, you pushed me away to protect Sophia's song. Why didn't you remember we were husband and wife then? Ethan's face stiffened. Sophia immediately tried to smooth things over. Ethan was just being kind. Lily, you're being too petty. Petty my foot. Vanessa, having just finished her statement, rushed over, launching into a full-blown tirade. A husband pushes his wife away to protect you, the other woman, and you have the nerve to accuse the wife of being petty? Sophia, I've never seen such a self-righteous mistress. Vanessa's voice was loud and clear. All eyes in the police station lobby instantly focused on Sophia and Ethan's extremely ugly faces. In the police station lobby, the stark fluorescent lights illuminated everyone's expressions with nowhere to hide. The air was filled with a mix of disinfectant and paper, along with an invisible, oppressive sense of awkwardness. Vanessa's full frontal accusation, like a stone thrown into a calm pond, created ripples that drew all eyes to Sophia and Ethan. Sophia's usually proud elegance completely shattered. Her face turned green then white, her lips trembling, unable to utter a single word in defense. Frustration finally erupted on Ethan's face. He stopped looking at Vanessa and directed all his anger at Lily. Lily, do you really have to incite your friend to put on such a spectacle for everyone to see? I decided to curse her out myself. It has nothing to do with Lily. Vanessa immediately stepped in front of her friend, refusing to back down. But in Ethan's eyes, this was all Lily's deliberate retaliation, meant to humiliate him publicly. He took a step forward, his voice filled with an impatient, transactional tone. What will it take for you to stop? You want compensation, don't you? Fine. Tell me, what do you want as compensation? Compensation? Lily looked at the exasperated man before her, and the last shred of warmth in her heart dissipated. He would never see his own mistakes, only believing that everything can be resolved with money. He was indifferent to her pain, yet extremely anxious about Sophia's reputation. At this moment, she suddenly found it utterly ridiculous that her naive younger self had ever deluded herself into trying to warm this cold, hard stone with 3 years of devotion. I don't want any of your compensation. Her voice was unusually calm, as if stating a fact unrelated to herself. I just want to resign. These 2 words stunned Ethan. Even Leo, who had been gloating nearby, showed a surprised expression. Tomorrow, I will submit my resignation and complete all work handovers. From now on, everything at GUTech will have nothing to do with me. Since she decided to divorce, she would make a clean break. Career, family, all ties related to him, she would sever one by one. Ethan's brows furrowed tightly, and a flicker of offended anger crossed his eyes. Are you using resignation to threaten me? Just because I didn't protect you when the gunshot rang out? No. Lily shook her head, correcting him. I'm not threatening you. I'm informing you. I'm resigning, and from now on, your career has nothing to do with me. Your future with Sophia has nothing to do with me either. Seeing more and more eyes turning their way, Ethan rubbed his aching forehead, his tone carrying a hint of condescending tolerance. Fine, you can resign. This period will also give you a chance to clear your head. The next day, Lily followed through. She placed her printed resignation letter calmly on Ethan's desk. At the time, Clara Gu was lounging in his office, acting spoiled. Ethan looked at the black and white document, his face so dark it could drip ink. You're serious? I thought I made myself clear yesterday. If you're trying to use this method to get my attention, I can only say you've disappointed me greatly, he said coldly. Lily almost laughed at his twisted logic. She was the one who was thoroughly disappointed. Ethan Gu, I have no interest in using any methods against you. I just don't want to work with a man who, in a moment of crisis, can unhesitatingly push his wife out as a shield. These words felt like a resounding slap across Ethan's face. His complexion turned ashen. He snatched up a pen, heavily signed his name on the resignation letter, then threw the document back at her, his voice icy. Fine. Don't regret it. From today, Clara will be responsible for the projects you're handling. Before you leave the company, make sure you hand over everything to her. Clara smugly lifted her chin. She had coveted this position for a long time. Everything Lily could do, she, the legitimate Miss Gu, could do even better. During the handover, Clara's arrogance and ignorance were fully exposed. She flipped through Lily's project proposal, which had taken countless hours of effort, as if it were a fashion magazine, disdainfully pursing her lips. I thought your work was so difficult, but it looks pretty simple, doesn't it? It seems you've really been slacking off at my brother's company these past 3 years. The project team members listened nervously, exchanging glances. Simple? This proposal, involving cutting-edge drone technology applications, contained professional terms that could keep an outsider busy for an entire day and night. Clara's comment clearly showed her complete lack of understanding. Everyone secretly worried about the project's future and felt even more reluctant to lose Lily, their capable leader. All right, I've seen enough. Clara casually tossed an important technical document aside, waving Lily away as if shooing a fly. You can leave. And don't think about coming back later. My brother's company isn't a garbage dump for strays. Don't worry, I won't be back. Lily's gaze swept coldly over her. As for you, staying in a garbage dump seems quite fitting. How dare you call me garbage? Clara shrieked, raising her hand to strike. But her wrist was firmly caught by Lily midair, a grip that instantly made her wince in pain. Lily's eyes, like ice-tempered blades, pierced directly into Clara's. Clara Gu, I used to tolerate you out of respect for Ethan. Now, I have no reason to. The bone-deep chill choked off all of Clara's curses. It wasn't until Lily released her hand and turned to leave that Clara, clutching her reddened wrist, muttered discontentedly. For a moment, she had actually been frightened by Lily. Days later, Lily met Vanessa at a coffee shop. Her friend, hearing she had officially resigned, was so happy she almost popped open champagne. You should have quit ages ago. You slaved for Ethan. Did he show an ounce of gratitude? Without you, could his company have gone public so quickly? Vanessa then asked, "What are your plans now? Why don't you come work for my company? You're a genius in the drone field. If you hadn't been helping him with his startup, you'd be a top expert in the industry by now." Lily pondered for a moment, then nodded. "I'll consider it." Just then, her mobile phone rang. It was Clara. "Lily, if you're not dead yet, get over here. Did you forget today's my mom's follow-up appointment at the hospital?" "I'm busy. Your mother's appointment. You and your brother can go yourselves," Lily said, then hung up, dragging the number into her blacklist. For 3 years, every time her mother-in-law fell ill, Lily was the one running around, and the Goof family had come to take it for granted. Now, she wouldn't cater to them anymore. Half an hour later, Ethan's call came through, his tone one of commanding anger. "Lily, you'd better get to the hospital immediately. If anything happens to my mom, I will never forgive you." Lily sighed, eventually deciding to go. After all, there were still over 20 days left in the divorce cooling-off period, and she didn't want any more complications. At the hospital, Mrs. Gu and her 2 children were gathered outside the specialist's office, their faces grim. As soon as Clara saw Lily, she rushed over. "You blocked me." "Yes, I blocked you," Lily admitted calmly. "Are you so important that I must answer your calls?" Ethan also stepped forward, questioning. "Our conflict shouldn't involve my mom's illness. You used to accompany her every time. Why can't we get an appointment today? Did you do something?" Dr. Miller is a national treasure, a military doctor of advanced age. He only sees a few patients each week, and appointments must be booked months in advance. Of course, you can't just walk in and expect to see him. Lily explained. "Then how did you always get an appointment before?" "What do you think?" Lily countered, not bothering to explain that Dr. Miller had reserved slots for her out of respect for her parents. Just then, the clinic door opened, and a vigorous old man, Dr. Miller, emerged. He saw the commotion outside, then his eyes landed on Lily, and he said in surprise, "Oh, Lily, what are you doing here?" Mrs. Gu, seeing the doctor, immediately stepped forward to complain. "Dr. Miller, you must judge. This Lily, her heart is too vicious. She actually prevented me from seeing you. Good thing my son is divorcing her soon. Then he'll marry a woman truly worthy of him." Dr. Miller's face instantly darkened. He looked sternly at Mrs. Gu. "It seems you'll have to find another doctor from now on. I saw you out of respect for Lily's parents. Since you look down on their daughters so much, you no longer need to come to me." "What?" The Gu family was stunned. "Her parents are dead. What respect could they command?" Mrs. Gu blurted out thoughtlessly. "Silence." Dr. Miller roared in anger. "Her parents were martyrs who died for their country. How dare you speak of them like that?" The Gu family was intimidated by his furious shout and dared not say more. Dr. Miller no longer paid attention to them, called Lily into his office alone, and asked about her recent situation with concern. Learning she was getting a divorce, the old man nodded approvingly. "It's good that you're divorcing. That family isn't worthy of you. Our Lily is the pride of martyrs. She deserves better." Returning to the villa that evening, Ethan was surprisingly there. He spoke directly. "My mother still wants to be seen by Dr. Miller. Go and talk to him." Lily scoffed, returning his words exactly. "You can go make an appointment yourself? If you can get one, Dr. Miller will naturally see her." Ethan was about to explode, but his mobile phone rang. After finishing the call, his face turned extremely grim. He turned to Lily, commanding her in an unquestionable tone. "The restaurant incident has been exposed online. The news is questioning Sophia as the other woman. You immediately issue a statement with me, clarifying that it was just a misunderstanding, that Sophia is your friend, and that you asked me to protect her because you were concerned for her safety." Lily stared at him in disbelief, as if seeing this man for the first time. "Ethan Gu," her voice trembled with anger, "have you no shame? Sophia's reputation will be affected. This will impact her career," he argued urgently. "You're the one who harmed her. You forgot your married status." Lily retorted sharply, puncturing all his hypocrisy. "If you cared so much about her, why didn't you divorce me when she came back? You just want to have your true love and a good reputation for not abandoning your long-suffering wife." These words made Ethan's face turn pale. After a long pause, he said defeatedly, "I know you've been wronged. How about this weekend? I'll accompany you to visit your parents' graves and apologize to them." This was his belated attempt to appease her. Lily was silent for a moment, then agreed. He did owe her parents an apology. However, by the weekend, what she received was Ethan's call, breaking his promise once again. "I'm sorry, Lily. The company has an urgent, very important meeting. I can't make it today. Next time I'll definitely go with you." "Okay, I understand." Lily calmly hung up the phone, her heart not even stirring a ripple. She quietly began packing her luggage, deleting the few remaining photos on her mobile phone, and placing the cheap wedding rings back in the drawer. Just then, Vanessa's call came in. "Lily, come with me to the stables. I heard Benjamin White is there today. White Corp wants to invest in a drone project, and I want to try my luck." Lily instinctively wanted to refuse, but her friend's persistent coaxing eventually won her over. The stables were bright with sunshine, and the grass was lush. However, As Lily stepped onto the open grounds, a dazzling sight instantly froze her in place. Not far away, two beautiful horses were galloping side by side, leisurely walking. On horseback, Ethan Gu, in a handsome riding outfit, was leaning over to say something to Sophia Song beside him, a brilliant smile on his face that Lily had never seen. And Sophia, too, was responding with a charming smile. The sunlight spilled over them, making them look like a perfect couple. That man, who was supposed to be in an urgent, important meeting, was, in fact, spending a lovely time with the woman he loved. The sun over the stables was warm and dazzling, illuminating Ethan Gu's face, which had instantly stiffened as his lie was exposed, making it look particularly ironic. The fragrance of grass mingled with the scent of leather and horses, usually a pleasant aroma, but now turned tense by the sudden confrontation. How annoying! Why are we running into these two again? Vanessa muttered softly beside Lily, her voice filled with barely suppressed disgust. Lily merely offered a faint, sardonic laugh, the temperature in her eyes colder than the grass beneath her feet. Just pretend they're not here. Unfortunately, they couldn't be ignored. Ethan had already galloped over, his horse's hooves making dull thuds on the soft turf, finally stopping in front of Lily. He looked down at her, his brows furrowed, his tone accusatory. "What are you doing here?" Lily looked up, meeting his gaze, a cold arc forming on her lips. "And you? What are you doing here? So this is your so-called urgent, important meeting?" An obvious discomfort flashed across Ethan's face. Vanessa's mockery followed swiftly, like a sharp knife. "Oh, so Mr. Gu's urgent meetings are now held at the stables. Next time, will they be held in bed?" "You." Ethan's face instantly darkened. He tightened the reins, and his horse pawed impatiently at the ground. "If you keep talking nonsense, even if you're Lily's friend, I won't let you get away with it. Go ahead, sue me." Vanessa lifted her chin fearlessly. Seeing Ethan about to erupt, Lily quickly stepped forward, shielding her friend, her gaze burning. "Ethan Gu, try to lay a hand on my friend. I will immediately publicize the evidence of your affair." "You wouldn't dare," he roared, though his voice lacked conviction. "Watch me." Lily met his gaze calmly. She knew how much effort he had put into suppressing the previous scandal. He cared more about his ridiculous reputation than anyone else. At this moment, Sophia Song also rode over slowly. She stopped beside Ethan, and with the posture of a victor, she looked down at Lily, her tone contemptuous. "You only resort to such low tactics, depending on men, and then using despicable methods to frame other women. Do you really think Ethan's heart will return to you this way? You're involved with a married man and then accuse others of being despicable. Don't you find that laughable?" Lily retorted coldly. "There's no right or wrong in matters of the heart. In 3 years, you couldn't hold on to a man's heart. Isn't that because you're simply not good enough?" Sophia's face wore a hint of superior pity. "Women like you will never understand how much a man admires a woman who gallops confidently on her own, independent and self-assured." As her words fell, she sharply squeezed her horse's flanks. The magnificent steed beneath her let out a whinny and bolted forward like an arrow from a bow. Her valiant figure cut a beautiful arc across the green grass, drawing cheers and applause from the onlookers. Ethan's gaze, captivated, followed her figure, his eyes filled with undisguised admiration and infatuation. After a long while, he turned back and said to Lily in a lecturing tone, "See? A woman like Sophia disdains your petty concerns. Lily, I hope you stop being so narrow-minded and don't deliberately follow me here." With that, he also spurred his horse and rode off after Sophia. Lily stood rooted to the spot, feeling a surge of absurdity. He actually thought she was stalking him? I'm furious. Do those two have the thickest skin on earth? Stalking? Who has time to stalk him? Vanessa stomped her foot in anger. "Don't be angry. They're not worth it," Lily said, taking her friend's arm. "Let's go. We have important business to attend to." The two walked toward the other end of the stables, finally spotting Benjamin White in the VIP lounge. He was surrounded by several people, his expression habitually detached and indifferent. Just as Lily and Vanessa were about to approach, Ethan rushed over like a whirlwind from the side, grabbing Lily's arm and angrily whispering, "You're still following? What exactly do you want?" "I'm not following you," Lily said, forcefully shaking off his hand. "Still denying it? I'm here for business today." He clearly didn't believe her. "I'm here for business too." "You?" He looked her up and down, his eyes filled with unconcealed disdain. "What kind of business could you possibly have?" At this point, Sophia also walked over, intimately linking her arm with Ethan's. "Ethan, don't delay, my uncle is waiting for us over there." As she passed Lily, she whispered, "A capable woman is a man's asset. An incapable woman is just a burden." With that, the two walked directly toward Benjamin White's group. Through Sophia's uncle's introduction, Ethan finally stood before Benjamin White. He heaped praises upon him, while Benjamin White merely offered polite, perfunctory responses, his deep, unreadable eyes showing no ripple of emotion. Benjamin White merely offered polite, perfunctory responses, his deep, unreadable eyes showing no ripple of emotion. Vanessa took a deep breath and, taking Lily with her, walked over, directly introducing her company and its advantages in the drone field. Benjamin White's gaze, however, passed over her and landed on Lily behind her. "Miss Chow, we meet again." "Indeed, quite a coincidence," Lily replied with a forced smile. Lily is now a key technical expert at our company, a top specialist in the drone field. Vanessa quickly added. Ethan heard this and immediately frowned, interjecting, "Lily, stop being dramatic." He turned to Benjamin White, with a hint of eagerness to distance himself. "Mr. White, I apologize. Lily was an employee at my company before, but she just resigned. She's just a regular staff member, not an expert." His words were meant to both get back at Lily and undermine a competitor. 3 years of marriage, she had poured her heart and soul into his company, only to be dismissed as a regular employee by him. Just then, a completely black horse with snow-white hooves was led over. Sophia volunteered to test ride this spirited horse for Benjamin White, hoping to use this opportunity to regain face in front of him. She leaped onto the horse, her posture elegant, and initially, things went smoothly. But just as she had shown off enough and was preparing to slow down and return, the black horse beneath her went mad, completely out of control, and instead sped toward the crowd. "Ah!" Sophia's scream tore through the calm of the stables. The previously admiring crowd scattered, fleeing in panic. Lily's eyes were quick, and she pulled Vanessa to a safe spot. But out of the corner of her eye, she noticed Benjamin White still standing in place, motionless, and the mad black horse was about to crash into him. No time to think. Military instinct took over her body in an instant. Like a poised leopard, she surged forward, with an explosive power beyond ordinary human ability, and in the fraction of a second before the horse's hooves struck, she grabbed Benjamin White's arm, using all her strength to tackle him to the ground. The two tumbled clumsily to the side. The thunderous hoofbeats grazed past their bodies, the strong wind stinging their faces. Lily gasped, feeling a heavy weight on her. She looked up, meeting a pair of close-up black eyes, rippling with a strange intensity. "Why did you save me?" His cold voice sounded in her ear. "Instinct," she said concisely. Saving people was an instinct ingrained in her bones. "If you're not hurt, get up quickly," she urged, a touch impatient. Benjamin White stared at her deeply, then slowly pushed himself up. Not far away, Sophia finally lost her grip and was brutally thrown from the wild horse, landing on the grass with a painful wail. Ethan immediately rushed to her side. But just then, the black horse, now free, turned around, whinnying, and charged toward the crowd again. And this time, its target was Lily, who had just gotten up. "Lily, watch out!" Vanessa's scream rang out. Ethan suddenly looked up, saw the dangerous scene, and instinctively started to rush over. But at that moment, Sophia, in his arms, clutched his hand tightly, moaning, "Ethan, I'm in so much pain." It was this 1 second of hesitation that stopped Ethan in his tracks. Everyone thought Lily would be paralyzed with fear and be as clumsy as Sophia. However, just as the wild horse galloped close, its hooves raised high, Lily moved. Her body sank slightly, her eyes sharp as an eagle, and at the most precise moment, she suddenly reached out and grabbed the flying reins. Using the horse's forward momentum, she executed a clean, agile leap, landing steadily on its back. The entire stable fell silent. All eyes were fixed on the woman, her back straight, on horseback. She showed no panic, skillfully tightening the reins, her legs firmly gripping the horse's flanks, her body rising and falling with the horse's run, as if she had become one with it. The wild horse, previously untamable, miraculously gradually calmed down after a few wild gallops under her expert control. When Lily rode back calmly to the crowd and dismounted, Ethan's face was etched with shock and unfamiliarity. He walked over, murmuring, "When did you learn to ride a horse?" "Does that matter?" Lily retorted coldly, her gaze sweeping past him, landing on Sophia, whose face was pale in his arms. "Galloping wildly is nothing remarkable, but if your sole purpose is to make men admire you, then we are indeed different." Sophia, whose face was pale in his arms. With that, she no longer looked at them. That night, at 9 o'clock, Ethan finally returned to the villa. He explained his absence that afternoon by saying Benjamin White was at the stables, and he was there for the company. Lily merely responded with a quiet, "It's fine," because she no longer cared. I'll go with you to visit your parents' graves tomorrow," he tentatively offered. "No need." Lily flatly refused. After a moment of silence, he asked, "What's this about you joining Blue Tech today?" "It's exactly what it sounds like. You don't have to do this to spite me. You can come back to the company anytime," he said in a condescending tone. "Come back to the company for what?" Lily countered. "To continue managing the drone project, of course," he said as if it were obvious. "White Corp wants to invest in this field." Lily looked at him coldly, word by word, tearing through his last disguise. "Is it because I saved Benjamin White at the stables today? So you think if I manage the project, he'll show goodwill and give you the investment?" Ethan's face, in that instant, flashed with an unmistakable, utterly exposed look of embarrassment and shame. What's wrong with that? Ethan Gu's voice echoed in the empty villa living room, carrying a matter-of-fact coldness. I'm just hoping to maximize our profits. It's good for the company, and it's good for our family. Family? The word felt like a tiny needle, lightly pricking Lily Qiao's heart. Once, it had been her deepest longing. After losing her parents and brother, she married him, wanting to have a family again. But 3 years of marriage had been a long, cold dream. Waking up, she realized he had never given her a real home. This place was merely a luxurious prison, from which she could be expelled at any moment for Sophia's song. If I hadn't saved Benjamin White at the stables today, would you still want me back at the company? She looked up, her gaze calmly meeting his, as if asking a question to which she already knew the answer. You are the lady of the house. You can always come back. He replied evasively. Is that so? Lily's lips curved into a sneer. Then can I announce, in front of everyone at the company, that I am the lady of the house? Ethan fell silent. The air seemed to freeze for a few seconds before he spoke stiffly. We agreed to keep our marriage a secret for now. We'd announce it when the time was right. When the time was right. Lily laughed, a hint of sadness in her voice. Is it because if you announced it now, it would be admitting to the entire company that you cheated in your marriage, right? Because everyone knows Sophia's song is the woman you truly love, but no one knows I'm your wife. Having her thoughts so directly exposed, Ethan's face flushed with annoyance. Do you have to make things so difficult for me? I'm not trying to make things difficult for you, so I'm not planning to return to the company. Lily's tone was resolute. Furthermore, I already told Benjamin White at the stables that if he wants to repay me, he should donate to a charity elementary school. So, don't expect me to help you secure any investment from him. The next day, Lily officially signed a letter of intent with Vanessa Wen's company, agreeing to start immediately after her parents were laid to rest. At lunch, she idly scrolled through Clara Gu's social media. One photo showed a pair of well-defined, slender hands holding a steaming bowl of porridge, while another hand gently stirred it with a spoon. The caption read, Big brother made porridge for his future sister-in-law. It smells so good. Those hands were all too familiar to her. Lily's gaze froze on the bowl of porridge, and a wave of nausea rose in her stomach. She vividly remembered that one winter, she had a fever of 104 degrees, her body burning, unable even to get out of bed. Over the phone, Ethan had coldly said, The company's busy. Take care of yourself. Later, as soon as her fever had slightly subsided, he called her back to the office for overtime. She sat at her cold desk, working on documents with an 4 drip in her arm, and he was oblivious. Forget a bowl of porridge made by him. She even had to order her own takeout with trembling fingers. The difference between love and not loving, it turned out, could be so stark. So, what are you looking at? Vanessa Wen leaned over curiously. Upon seeing the photo, she immediately exploded. Damn it, Ethan Gu is too much. He's not even divorced yet, and he's openly doting on his mistress. No matter. Lily calmly put away her mobile phone and stood up. The things that once stung her now only left her numb. She didn't rush to the hospital as Vanessa had expected. Instead, she drove to the funeral home. In the cold display room, she stood silently before her parents' urns. The vibrant national flag, covering the black sandalwood box, was the only warm color in the solemn space. Dad, Mom. Her voice was very low, like she was talking to herself. I originally thought he still owed you an apology. But now, thinking about it, there's no need, right? An apology from a man who has no place in his heart for your daughter is worthless. She put her hands together, bowing 3 times in earnest. Are you leaving? A cold voice, without warning, sounded behind her. Lily stiffened, then sharply turned around. Benjamin White's handsome, yet lifeless face appeared before her eyes. How did you get here? Since Miss Qiao refused my secretary, I had no choice but to come personally to invite you, he said, stepping forward, his gaze sweeping past her to rest on the urn. He saw the names engraved on the label below, General Qiao, Dr. Guan. Anyone whose ashes are covered by the national flag must not be ordinary people, he said faintly. They were ordinary people, and they were also martyrs. A trace of pride appeared in Lily's eyes. She recalled her father's words to her. A soldier's belief is to protect their small family, but even more so, to protect the greater family, the nation. Since Mr. White has come personally, then let's go. She knew there was no avoiding this meal. She took one last look at her parents' urns, then turned, only to find Benjamin White hadn't moved. Under her gaze, this man, rumored to be temperamental and to regard human life as worthless, slowly walked to her parents' urns, adjusted the hem of his expensive suit, and then, with extreme solemnity and respect, bowed deeply 3 times, at a 90-degree angle. Lily was utterly stunned. She watched his profile, his expression serious, each bow filled with unquestionable reverence. That moment, a wave of indescribable, complex emotions surged within her. Ethan, who should have done this, had never set foot here. Yet this madman before her had shown her parents the highest respect. They are martyrs. I owe them this. Benjamin White simply explained calmly when she looked at him with a question in her eyes. They arrived at an extremely private members-only restaurant. Lily had no desire to appreciate the exquisite dishes. She just wanted to finish quickly. She ate very fast, a habit formed in the military. Half full, she put down her chopsticks, her gaze involuntarily falling on Benjamin White's hand holding his chopsticks. It was an extraordinarily beautiful hand, long, slender, with knuckles as if precisely sculpted. This hand holding a pair of bone-white jade chopsticks exuded an unusual kind of beauty, beautiful yet sharp, as if it could turn into the most lethal weapon at any moment. Miss Chiao, why do you keep staring at my hand? Benjamin White's casual voice broke the silence. I just find it very beautiful. She answered truthfully, like a perfect weapon. Is that so? He put down his chopsticks, his deep, unfathomable eyes looking at her, but what he said sent shivers down Lily's spine. Then, if I die before Miss Chiao, I will have my hand cut off, made into a specimen, and sent to you. Cough, cough. Lily choked on her own saliva, coughing violently. She now deeply understood that this man was truly insane. No need. She quickly waved her hand. I prefer hands that are still attached to a person. He seemed to sigh with a hint of regret. Immediately, his bodyguard handed him a document. Lily opened it to find proof of a full donation for a charity elementary school. In such a short time, he had already fulfilled his promise. Thank you. Looking at the document, Lily for the first time gave him a genuine, clear smile from the heart. That smile made Benjamin White pause slightly. He suddenly spoke. Miss Chiao, would you be interested in becoming my bodyguard? Name your price. Lily shook her head, politely declining. The meal ended in a strange and subtle atmosphere. As they parted, Benjamin White gave her a deep look. Miss Chiao, I'm not easily saved. But once someone saves me, they must save me to the end. What did that mean? Lily didn't have time to ponder before she was interrupted by a call from Gu Tech. It was Clara Gu. Lily, you need to rewrite the project proposal you were in charge of. On the other end of the mobile phone, her tone was one of unquestionable command. Why should I? Because you're my brother's wife. If I tell you to write it, you write it. Otherwise, I'll tell my brother to divorce you and make you damaged goods. All right, Lily smiled. Then go ahead. I'll be waiting. With that, she calmly hung up. It turned out Clara was indeed incompetent. Her submitted proposal was abysmal and earned her a severe dressing down from Ethan. The next day, Ethan received a call from the bank. A crucial loan the company had applied for was rejected. The reason was that their most important potential investor, Fengyu Investments, had terminated its cooperation agreement. Ethan was shocked and immediately called the manager of Fengyu Investments. The reply he received was like a thunderclap. Mr. Gu, our initial investment interest was entirely based on Miss Chiao. Now that she has resigned, our agreement is naturally void. Because of Lily? Ethan was incredulous. A light chuckle came from the other end of the phone. It seems Mr. Gu is truly unaware of his wife's value. Hanging up the phone, Ethan immediately called Lily back to the company. He confronted her angrily. Are you colluding with the investor to get revenge on me? Revenge? Lily found it absurd. I don't have that kind of power. Just then, Clara rushed in, her eyes glinting with malice. Brother, I think she definitely has some shady dealings with the investor. Maybe she slept with someone to get the investment. She cheated on you. Ethan fell silent. He looked at Lily, that expression filled with suspicion and scrutiny. That one look chilled Lily's heart completely. For years together, and she couldn't earn an ounce of his trust. See, she's feeling guilty. Clara fanned the flames. Lily suddenly stopped her bitter smile. She stared coldly at Clara. You sure I really slept with the investor? Yes, I'm sure. Clara proudly lifted her chin. Good. Lily nodded. To their astonishment, she took out her mobile phone and calmly and clearly dialed a number. Hello, is this 911? I want to report a sexual assault. I was drugged and raped without my knowledge. Yes, I have a witness. It's my husband's sister. She said she personally confirmed this happened. Ethan and Clara's faces instantly turned ashen. Ethan frantically snatched the phone, incoherently explaining it was all a misunderstanding. After hanging up, he roared at Lily. Are you crazy? Ethan and Clara's faces instantly turned ashen. I'm not crazy, you are. Lily said, putting away her mobile phone. It had already recorded Clara's words. Since your sister is so sure, of course I should call the police to clear my name. What? You think you can casually slander people without consequence? Clara apologized. Faced with Lily's cold gaze and the clear recording on her mobile phone, Ethan had no choice but to force his sister to back down. Clara glared hatefully at Lily, finally only able to grudgingly utter 3 words. I'm sorry. Lily gave the siblings a cold look and turned to leave. On the other side, Sophia Song, who had just been discharged from the hospital, gently linked her arm with Ethan's, planning the aviation exhibition in a few days. Ethan, that's a great opportunity. We might find new partners. It's a shame I'll be busy representing Cloud Airlines that day and can't be with you the whole time. Her voice was gentle and moving, but her eyes gleamed with determined ambition. The aviation exhibition was a sea of interwoven steel and dreams. The roar of massive engines resonated in the distance, and the air was subtly scented with aviation fuel. Sunlight glinted off the streamlined aircraft, creating dazzling reflections. Vanessa won, like a nimble fish, quickly dove into the throng of business talks, leaving Lily Chow alone to seek a moment of quiet amidst the commotion. Her gaze was involuntarily drawn to a family of four not far away. Parents held hands with their two children, the father patiently explaining something as he pointed to a model of a fighter jet. That heartwarming scene, like a soft key, unlocked the floodgates of Lily's memories. She imagined her father, years ago, holding her and her brother's hands in the same way, his broad, warm palm encompassing their small world. Back then, their family of four had been so happy. Now, only she remained, and her brother, whose fate was unknown. A familiar, cold voice at her ear pulled her from the warm current of memory back to cold reality. Lily started, turning to find Benjamin White standing beside her. Today, he wore a well-tailored, dark gray casual suit, shedding some of his usual austere demeanor, yet still exuding an unapproachable aura. No bodyguards accompanied him. "Mr. White," she was somewhat surprised. "Where are your bodyguards?" "Having them follow would draw too much attention," he said faintly. "They're hidden." Lily understood. She walked beside him, casually exploring the vast exhibition hall. Surprisingly, Benjamin White possessed an incredibly rich knowledge of aerospace. From aerodynamic design to the principles of turbofan engines, from composite material applications to the future of drones, he spoke eloquently and knowledgeably, his expertise far beyond that of an average enthusiast. It was a conversation of equals, and Lily found that no matter what topic she raised, he would grasp it precisely, even sparking new ideas from unique angles. This was a long-lost intellectual resonance that made her almost forget the time. The engrossing conversation only ceased when Benjamin White's secretary arrived to remind him that his meeting with government officials was due. After parting ways with Benjamin White, Lily was about to continue her tour when several irritating figures approached. It was Ethan Gu and his entourage of fair-weather friends. She instinctively wanted to turn away, but the sharp-eyed Leo Lu spotted her. Well, isn't it Lily Chow?" Leo strode over, a blatant sneer on his face. "You're here for the aerospace exhibition too? Do you even understand any of it?" Ethan's other friends also gathered around, looking ready for some entertainment. Lily cast a cold glance at him. "If I don't understand, I can't come? Or is there some special entry requirement for this exhibition, like an aerospace certificate?" Leo choked, then escalated his mockery. "All right, your tongue is certainly sharp. What, trying to emulate Sophia and gild your resume here? Do you think that'll make Ethan look at you twice? Let me tell you, you're just making a fool of yourself. Sophia is a woman who actually flies planes. What are you? Can you drive a tractor?" A burst of laughter erupted, the gazes like countless tiny needles pricking the air. Lily, however, remained unfazed, as if the harsh voices had nothing to do with her. She simply countered calmly. "What's so great about flying a plane?" This remark, like a splash of cold water into boiling oil, instantly ignited even greater laughter. Leo roared, doubled over. "Lily, you're incredibly stupid. Do you think flying a plane is as easy as driving your family tractor?" "Exactly. Don't compare yourself to Sophia. You'll just make a spectacle." Ethan's face also darkened. He spoke in a tone of disappointment mixed with admonishment. "Lily, everyone is just stating facts. Sophia is Cloud Airlines' first female co-pilot. You don't need to say things like that just because you're jealous of her." Jealousy? Lily found it utterly absurd. When one's heart is completely dead towards another, how can there be jealousy? She looked at him and Sophia as if watching a clumsy play unrelated to her. Just then, her mobile phone rang. It was Vanessa. Lily walked aside to answer, hearing her friend's frantic voice. "Lily, something's happened. Our partner's stunt pilot suddenly fell ill and can't make it. Can you fly for them this once?" Lily pondered for a moment, then asked, "What kind of aircraft?" "A Zivco Edge 540. "I can." She was very familiar with this model. A single performance would be no problem. After receiving a positive answer, Lily hung up and walked straight towards the airfield behind the exhibition hall. Behind her, she could still faintly hear Leo and their group's mocking laughter. As she stopped in front of a red and white aerobatic plane, preparing to board, a hand suddenly reached out from behind, gripping her arm tightly. It was Ethan, who had followed her. "Lily, what are you doing? You can't just get on a plane." His face was filled with shock and anger, as if he were looking at a madwoman. "I told Lily to get on." Vanessa rushed over and pushed him away. Ethan, however, continued to stare fixedly at Lily, his eyes full of disappointment and disdain. "Are you risking your life just because you're jealous of Sophia? Do you think you can fly a plane? Lily, I order you, get down immediately." "I'll say it again." Lily's eyes were as cold as frost. She forcefully shook off his hand, the strength making him involuntarily step back. "Sophia Song holds nothing for me to be jealous of." With that, She didn't look at him again, agilely flipped into the cockpit, and closed the transparent canopy. Vanessa looked at Ethan, giving him a look of utter idiocy. You don't seriously think Sophia is the only woman in the world who can fly a plane, do you? Ethan stared blankly at the plane. Under the canopy, Lily put on her goggles, her gaze calm and resolute, fixed on the runway ahead. He saw her skillfully flick switches on the dashboard, and then the engine roared to life, the propellers spinning rapidly. His pupils, at that moment, suddenly constricted. The plane began to taxi down the runway, gaining speed. Then the nose lifted gently, elegantly detaching from the ground, soaring into the sky. Ethan looked up, staring dumbfounded at the plane as it carved perfect arcs across the azure sky, his mind a blank. Lily. She really could fly a plane. Not only could she, but she was performing a series of dazzling and difficult aerobatic maneuvers in the air, barrel rolls, loops, Immelman turns. Every movement was precise and fluid, drawing gasps of admiration from the crowd below. What struck dumb? Vanessa's voice sounded in his ear, full of endless mockery. You really are ridiculous, thinking Lily would say those things out of jealousy for Sophia. You completely underestimated her. Ethan's face burned crimson, as if he had been slapped countless times, stinging with pain. When Lily landed the plane smoothly and climbed out of the cockpit, he walked forward as if waking from a dream, his voice dry and hoarse. You really can fly a plane. So what if I can? Lily said, taking off her goggles, not caring in the least. What's so great about flying a plane? This exact sentence now returned to him. Ethan felt his ears burning. He wanted to ask her when she learned, but then remembered that when she tried to tell him about her past, it was he who had said, "It's not important." Just then, Leo and his group found them. They hadn't seen the performance, and as soon as they saw Lily, they began a new round of mockery. Lily, didn't you brag earlier that flying a plane was nothing special? If you're so capable, why don't you fly one then? Vanessa was about to lash out, but Ethan cut her off, his face grim, and reprimanded. Enough. Lily is my wife. You shouldn't look down on her like that. What are you talking about? Leo looked at him in confusion. Weren't you the one who looked down on her the most? Have you forgotten what you said when you were drunk? If Sophia hadn't left, you wouldn't have married an incapable woman like her in a moment of despair. These words, like poisoned daggers, stabbed fiercely into Ethan's heart. Yes, these were his own words. But was she truly incapable? He returned to the exhibition hall in a daze and found Sophia at the Cloud Airlines booth. On the large screen, a replay of the aerobatic performance was showing. Sophia watched the screen, disdainfully mentioning Lily. She actually said flying a plane was nothing special. How arrogant. Ethan moistened his dry lips, then spoke with difficulty. What if she wasn't being arrogant? She can fly a plane? Sophia sounded like she'd heard the biggest joke. Ethan, are you insulting my profession just to defend her? Ethan choked, looking at the agile plane swirling on the screen, unable to utter another word. After the performance, Lily left first. As she walked out of the exhibition hall, a black Maybach silently glided to a stop in front of her. It was Benjamin White's car. My master said to give Miss Chow a ride. She was about to refuse, but the car window lowered, revealing Benjamin White's handsome face. She eventually got in. In the car, Benjamin White accurately stated her identity. Miss Chow truly lives up to her reputation as the former captain of the Flying Eagle Special Forces. Today's performance was exceptional. He had apparently thoroughly investigated her background. The car stopped at the gate of the villa she shared with Ethan. As she got out, Benjamin White's driver rushed up, handing her a thick book. Miss Chow, this is a gift from my master. It was the out-of-print manuscript of M's avian drawings that she had mentioned. Before she could refuse, a figure darted out from the side. It was Clara Gu. Holding her mobile phone, she shrieked, "Aha, Lily! I've recorded everything. You dared to have another man drive you home." When Ethan returned, he was met with a family inquisition. Mrs. Gu and Clara, in a tag team, presented the blurry video as irrefutable evidence, accusing Lily of having an affair. Ethan looked at the familiar license plate in the video, his mind a mess. He frowned and questioned Lily. What is this about? He just gave me a ride since it was on his way, Lily explained calmly. Easy to say, Clara interjected, fanning the flames. Your brother's car has driven Sophia's song around plenty, Lily retorted coldly. This remark completely ignited Mrs. Gu's fury. She lunged forward, raising her hand, and a resounding slap landed hard on Lily's face. I'm telling you, Mrs. Gu's voice was sharp and venomous. Today, your divorce from my son is absolutely happening. The sharp slap did not ring out as expected. Mrs. Gu's wrinkled hand, filled with bitter resentment, was gripped firmly by a steadier, stronger hand, just inches from Lily Chiao's face. That hand belonged to Lily. Ethan, did you see that? Mrs. Gu's wrist was clamped painfully, and she couldn't break free, so she frantically appealed to her son. I just tried to teach her a lesson, and she dared to lay hands on me. This kind of woman. Why are you keeping her if not to divorce her? Lily looked coldly at the face twisted with anger, her voice devoid of warmth. If you want a divorce, fine. According to the law, half of his marital assets belong to me. Are you prepared for that? Nonsense. You cheated in the marriage. You should leave with nothing. Mrs. Gu shrieked, finally revealing her true intention. So that was it. Lily understood completely. No wonder, despite having already signed an agreement, they made such an elaborate scene tonight. They didn't even want to give her that 100 million. They wanted to use the accusation of infidelity to make her leave with nothing. Ethan Gu stepped forward, his face grim, his tone his usual attempt to mediate. Release my mother immediately. She's an elder. Even if she scolds you a bit, it's only right. Scold a bit. Lily sneered, her gaze cutting across him like a knife. You call what just happened scolding a bit? Even if she did hit you, so what? Ethan's voice was laced with impatience. My mother raised my sister and me alone. It wasn't easy for her. As her daughter-in-law, can't you just put up with it? Always the same argument. Lily's ears were practically numb from hearing it. Because his mother had a hard life, was she destined to be humiliated, verbally abused, and have her dignity trampled upon? Ethan Gu, your mother's sacrifices for you have nothing to do with me. She never sacrificed anything for me. Lily's eyes, at that moment, completely lost their last warmth. I used to endure because I loved you. Now, I don't love you anymore, so I won't endure. Don't love anymore. These 3 words were like 3 ice picks, stabbing fiercely into Ethan's heart. He looked at her familiar yet strange face, and a terrible thought emerged. She no longer endured because she no longer loved him? Was it because of someone else? Benjamin White. Lily released Mrs. Gu's hand, her gaze directly challenging Ethan. My parents raised me with their love, not for me to marry into your family and be slapped by your mother. If you want a divorce, fine. I will take what is rightfully mine, not a single penny less. You cheated first, and you still want money? Our Gu family has plenty of money to hire the best lawyers to make sure you don't get a single dime. Clara Gu shouted arrogantly from the side. Cheating. Lily turned to her, a dangerous curve on her lips. Are you referring to the person who drove me home today? Oh, I forgot to tell you. That person was Benjamin White of the White family. So, Clara Gu, are you now trying to tell everyone that Benjamin White is my affair partner? What? Clara's face instantly went ashen. The name Benjamin White was a taboo in the capital. Offend him, and the entire Gu family would be dragged down with her. Ethan also realized the seriousness of the situation. He immediately whispered to his sister, take Mom upstairs first. Not a word about today's incident must leave this house. 3 days later, the Royal Hotel's grand ballroom was filled with lavish clothing and clinking glasses. Vanessa insisted on dressing Lily Qiao in a deep blue starry night gown, which made her skin appear ethereal and her demeanor coolly elegant. Her purpose for being here was simple, to return Benjamin White's expensive clothes and be done with him once and for all. But fate, it seemed, always had a knack for malicious coincidences. At the hotel entrance, she unexpectedly encountered Ethan Gu and Sophia Song, both impeccably dressed. Ethan looked at his radiant wife, stunning him to a momentary daze. The admiration in his eyes quickly gave way to possessiveness and suspicion. You're stalking me here? What do you want? Lily simply felt speechless. Just then, her mobile phone vibrated. It was a text from Mrs. Gu, room 1205, regarding the divorce agreement. If you don't come, you can forget about that 100 million. How coincidental. It was the same hotel. Lily briefly instructed Vanessa, then headed to the elevator alone. She knew it was likely a trap, but she also knew that some matters needed a definitive end. When she opened the door to room 1205 with her key card, a faint, subtly sweet scent washed over her. Her heart tightened, and she instantly held her breath. It was a sedative gas. She feigned to stumble as she walked into the room, and as her body collapsed, she discreetly placed a micro camera, smaller than a fingernail, under a potted plant leaf directly facing the bed. Soon after, a feeling of weakness overcame her, and she slumped by the bed. The door opened, and Mrs. Gu and Clara Gu entered, followed by 2 burly men with rough faces. Haha, Lily, didn't expect this, did you? Clara walked up to her, looking down, her face filled with the pleasure of revenge. Did you really think you'd get 100 million? Dream on. Lily struggled to lift her head, her gaze icy. Is this what you invited me to discuss? Who told you to be so greedy? Mrs. Gu cursed spitefully. That money all belongs to my son. You won't get a single cent. All right, this woman is all yours. Clara smiled at the 2 thugs. Ruin her as badly as possible, and remember to take plenty of photos and videos. The 2 men let out lewd laughs, approaching Lily step by step. Lily's body was paralyzed, but her right hand, hidden by the long gown, tightly gripped her mobile phone. Her fingers moved silently on the smooth screen, each tap incredibly precise. This was an instinct honed in Special Forces training. Have you thought about Ethan Gu doing this? I'm still his wife. She shouted with all her strength, trying to buy time. My brother has Sophia now. Who cares about a cast-off wife like you? Clara scoffed. Lily pressed her lips together. On the screen, a number had already been dialed. She set her phone's volume to the lowest setting, so only she could hear the faint dial tone of hope. This was her last chance for him. If he answered, if he came, everything might still be salvageable. In the banquet hall, Ethan Gu was holding a wine glass, searching for new investment opportunities. His mobile phone vibrated. He took it out and saw Lily Qiao flashing on the screen. He frowned, about to answer, when Sophia Song gently interjected. Is that Lily's call? Is she upset because I'm with you? Maybe I should leave, and she can come join you instead. Ignore her. Ethan felt a surge of irritation and casually pressed the hang-up button. In his mind, it was just another of her tiresome attempts to cling on. He had more important things to do. In room 1205, that faint, busy tone, like a cold hammer, shattered the last remaining spark of hope in Lily's heart. It was a profound, bone-chilling coldness. She had given him countless chances, only to be met with increasingly deeper disappointment. She looked up at Clara and Mrs. Gu's triumphant faces and said calmly, "We were family for 3 years, at least. If you stop now, I can pretend nothing happened." "Haha, you still expect us to let it go?" Clara's laughter was shrill. "It's because you're family that I specifically picked 2 strong, healthy men for you." Lily slowly lowered her eyes. On the mobile phone screen hidden by her dress, she had successfully hacked into the hotel's network system. Since he chose to abandon her, she would let him see with his own eyes the ugly truth of the family he defended. Her fingers tapped rapidly on the screen, executing the final command. In the banquet hall, Ethan Gu, accompanied by Sophia Song, was walking towards the distinguished and aloof man surrounded by people, Benjamin White. "Mr. White, hello, I'm Ethan Gu of Gu Tech. Last time at the stables." Before he could finish, the giant LED main screen in the center of the banquet hall suddenly flickered. The elegant background music abruptly stopped, and all eyes were drawn to it. Then, a sharp, venomous female voice, amplified through the top-tier sound system, resonated throughout the entire banquet hall. "Hurry up and deal with her. I want her to leave with nothing, not a single penny." Ethan Gu's body stiffened. That voice. It was his mother. He abruptly looked up at the screen, and what appeared was a live feed of room 1205. His mother and sister were instructing 2 burly men with the most malicious intentions, and the target they sought to destroy was his wife, Lily Qiao. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. The massive LED screen in the center of the banquet hall, like a merciless mirror, projected all the ugliness and depravity within room 1205, clearly for every well-dressed guest to see. Ethan Gu's mind was blank. On the screen, was that truly his mother, the woman who had worked so hard for them, now with a malicious face and foul mouth? That girl laughing innocently yet cruelly, plotting to destroy another woman's innocence. Was that truly his sweet and lovely sister? And the person cornered by 2 burly men, in desperate straits, was his wife, Lily Qiao. Sophia Song, beside him, was equally pale as a sheet. She knew Mrs. Gu and Clara would act, but she never dreamed their actions would turn into a live broadcast for high society. Who did this? Lily? How could she possibly have such an ability? Aren't you afraid of legal repercussions for doing this? Lily's weak but still calm voice came from the screen. Haha, the law? Who saw anything? Clara Gu's arrogant laughter echoed through the banquet hall via the top-tier sound system, sounding particularly grating. You took the key card yourself. You entered the room yourself. When it's all over, people will just think you couldn't stand the loneliness and invited 2 men for a private tryst. These words, like a clap of thunder, made Ethan Gu dizzy. Ethan Gu. A furious roar shook him from his stupor. Vanessa won, like an enraged lioness, rushed to him, grabbing his collar, her eyes bloodshot. Which room did your mother and sister take Lily to? If they dare to harm a single hair on Lily's head, I'll make them all pay with their lives. Find out which room this is. Vanessa shouted at the hotel staff, who were already petrified with fear. This might be a misunderstanding. Ethan was still futilely trying to defend, but Clara Gu's next words on the screen completely shattered his last shred of illusion. "Oh, and I'm going to take some exciting photos. If you dare to call the police, your private photos will appear online, to be appreciated by thousands of men." Misunderstanding? What kind of misunderstanding? Vanessa trembled with rage. Ethan Gu, Lily marrying into your family was truly the worst luck imaginable. The whispers around them, like countless fine needles, pierced Ethan Gu and Sophia Song's ears. So Ethan Gu is already married? To get rid of his wife for that Miss Song, he'd resort to such tactics? TSK, you never know a person's true colors. Isn't that Miss Song just a mistress then? Sophia Song's face turned green and white. She shrieked, "Turn off the screen. This is a prank." Meanwhile, in the room, Lily Qiao watched the approaching thugs, Mrs. Gu observing coldly, and Clara raising her phone to film. She looked up, her gaze piercing through the screen, as if making eye contact with someone in the banquet hall. "Do you truly not regret doing this?" "I only regret not doing it sooner." Mrs. Gu spat. "Go on. Take your time while you're at it. Let me get clear shots, lots of close-ups." Clara excitedly directed. Just as the 2 men's filthy hands were about to touch Lily Qiao's gown, Some in the banquet hall couldn't bear to watch and closed their eyes. But in the very next second, the scene on the screen took a shocking turn. One of the thugs, the moment he touched Lily, was sent flying backward with a scream, as if struck by immense force. No one even saw how Lily had moved. What are you waiting for? She's under the influence of the sedative. She doesn't have much strength. Quickly pin her down. Clara shrieked. The other man, as if waking from a dream, joined his companion, rushing at Lily again. The ensuing scene was not like a brawl, but rather a dance combining violence and aesthetics. Lily Qiao's figure weaved between the two burly men, her movements sharp and precise. Every punch, every kick, landed accurately on their most vulnerable spots. Her deep blue gown flared with her movements, carving fierce yet elegant arcs. She was like a drawn sword, its edge gleaming, her clear, almond-shaped eyes reflecting a chilling light that made hearts palpitate. Minutes later, the two thugs already lay on the ground, groaning in pain, unable to get up. The banquet hall was silent. Everyone was too stunned to speak. Ethan Gu's eyes were wide. He knew she had been in the military, but he always thought it was just superficial training. The woman on the screen, moving skillfully and exuding powerful energy, was a Lily Qiao he had never seen before, unfamiliar, yet dazzling. Only Benjamin White, holding his wine glass, wore a knowing, faint smile. Indeed, an interesting woman. It's room 1205. They're in room 1205. The staff finally pinpointed the location. Ethan Gu suddenly snapped out of it, rushing out of the banquet hall like a madman. When he kicked open the door, he saw the messy room and his wife still standing ramrod straight. Mrs. Gu and Clara, seeing him, immediately rushed to him, crying and twisting the facts, pushing all the blame onto Lily Qiao. Brother, she framed us. Don't believe her. Ethan, this slut cheated and then dared to hit me. Call the police and have her arrested. Ethan Gu looked at their disgraceful performance, then at Lily Qiao's cold, mocking eyes, feeling utterly humiliated. He didn't believe Lily. He believed what he had seen and heard with his own eyes and ears. Enough, he finally roared, unable to bear it anymore. How much more do you want to humiliate me? Vanessa also arrived, pulling out her mobile phone directly. You don't need to call the police. I already did. The police quickly arrived. As the cold handcuffs were about to be placed on Clara Gu's wrists, she finally panicked. She screamed hysterically, and in her desperation, grabbed Sophia Song, who had just arrived. Sophia, quickly help me. My mom and I did all this for you, didn't we? You were aware of this. These words exploded like a bomb in the room. Everyone's gaze focused on Sophia Song's instantly flustered face. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't know anything. You clearly knew. You said that not giving Lily Qiao that 100 million was perfectly acceptable. Ethan, believe me, it really has nothing to do with me. A meticulously planned trap completely devolved into a chaotic farce. Ethan Gu looked at the three women he had once wanted to spend his life protecting, feeling a splitting headache. Ultimately, the police took everyone involved, including Sophia Song, away. Before leaving, Ethan Gu looked deeply at Lily Qiao, his gaze filled with complex emotions. After everyone had left, Lily Qiao felt waves of heat and weakness surging through her body. The lingering effects of the sedative were stronger than she had anticipated. Your face is very red. Are you really okay? Vanessa asked worriedly. I'm fine. Let's go to the police station first, she said, forcing herself to stay strong. As she waited for Vanessa to drive the car around at the hotel entrance, Lily Qiao's body swayed slightly. She leaned against a pillar by the door, trying to clear her head. Just then, a silver-gray Maybach silently pulled up in front of her. The car window lowered, revealing Benjamin White's handsome face. Miss Qiao, what a coincidence. Let me give you a ride. Without waiting for her answer, Benjamin White got out of the car, and with an undeniable air, took her wrist, half supporting, half carrying her into the car. Wait. Lily Qiao tried to struggle, but found she had no strength. The car door locked behind her, and the car smoothly drove away from the hotel. She was firmly held by Benjamin White's hand, trapped in the narrow space between him and the car door, only able to glare at him. Mr. White, what are you doing? Mr. White, what are you doing? Her voice was softened by the drug's effects, but her gaze remained sharp. Giving you a ride. He answered as if it were the most normal thing to do. No need. Please ask the driver to stop. She refused, the unfamiliar heat in her body surging, assaulting her rationality. What if I insist on giving you a ride? Benjamin White subtly curved his lips, his smile devoid of warmth, only a hint of amusement. His slender fingers, gripping her wrist, subtly caressed her skin. The cool touch, in stark contrast to the rushing heat beneath her skin, sent a shiver of thrilling numbness through her. Let go of me, she gritted her teeth, commanding him. Benjamin White's eyes flickered. Instead of letting go, he leaned closer, his warm breath fanning her ear, his voice low and alluring. Miss Qiao, your condition doesn't look too good. Do you really still want to go to the police station? His proximity made his clean scent even more intense, like a scoop of ice-cold spring water on a scorching summer day. making her both want to escape and instinctively crave it. Her throat was parched and aching, and the fire within her burned hotter and hotter. She knew the sedative's effects were far more potent than she had anticipated. She forced herself to avert her gaze, no longer looking at his parting lips, and gasped. Then, Mr. White, please take me to the hospital first. Going to the hospital would be too slow, he chuckled, his laughter seeming to have hooks in it. Instead of waiting for a doctor, wouldn't it be faster to use an antidote directly? Antidote. Lily Qiao was stunned. Indeed, he gazed at her flushed cheeks and sparkling, almond-shaped eyes, reddened by the drug, and slowly said, I can be the antidote for Miss Qiao. What do you think? Cough, 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 cough. Lily Qiao choked on her own saliva, coughing violently, staring at him in disbelief. Did he mean what she thought he meant by antidote? This madman. You mean using your body? She struggled to articulate the words. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. He admitted frankly, leaning a few more inches towards her, almost nose to nose. I believe my body is quite decent. If Miss Qiao needs it, it's available anytime. Lily Qiao had never encountered anyone who could discuss such a matter so casually, as if discussing a dish. She forcibly suppressed the desire that almost broke through her rationality, and with a tricky move, she firmly gripped Benjamin White's wrist at a pulse point, repeating word by word, I only need you to take me to the hose, Pai Tao. Her eyes were clear and resolute, like stars in a cold night, refusing to surrender to desire in the slightest. Benjamin White looked at her, and in his dead eyes, for the first time, a clear ripple of interest appeared. After a long while, he slowly smiled. All right, I'll take you to the hospital. At the police station, Ethan Gu sat restlessly on a cold chair. His mother's wailing, his sister's evasions, Sophia Song's distancing themselves. It was all a tangled mess, scrambling his thoughts. He took out his mobile phone and dialed Lily Qiao's number, a strange worry rising in his heart. The call connected, but what he heard was a cool, somewhat languid male voice. Ethan Gu, you're looking for Lily Qiao. You're Benjamin White. Ethan Gu's heart sank sharply. Yes, the voice on the other end was calm. Oh, she's asleep. Is there something you need? I can pass on a message when she wakes up. Asleep. These two words, like two burning brands, seared into Ethan Gu's heart. His fingers, gripping the phone, turned white from the force. Bitterness, anger, and a hint of panic he refused to acknowledge, instantly overwhelmed him. He had always believed that a man as high-ranking as Benjamin White would never notice the unremarkable Lily Qiao. But now this fact slapped him hard. In the VIP hospital room, Benjamin White casually placed Lily Qiao's mobile phone on the bedside table. He looked at the woman on the bed, deep in a sedative-induced slumber. She wasn't sleeping peacefully. Fine beads of sweat dotted her flushed skin, and every now and then, a suppressed moan escaped her lips. He watched quietly for a long time before speaking to his secretary, Mr. Wu, who stood behind him. Tell me, why would she refuse me? There was a much easier way. Mr. Wu carefully replied. Miss Qiao. Benjamin White raised a hand and gently wiped the sweat from Lily Qiao's forehead with his thumb, the gesture carrying an almost unsettling tenderness. He low-voiced, as if asking Mr. Wu, or perhaps himself, what should I do? It seems I increasingly want to bring her to my side. When Lily Qiao woke up, it was 18 hours later. She felt sticky and utterly exhausted. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Benjamin White sitting casually on a nearby sofa, as if he had been waiting for a long time. Thank you. Facing this madman, who had stayed by her side for 18 hours, she could only offer an awkward thanks. While completing the discharge procedures, she used the hospital's portable charger to turn on her mobile phone. Instantly, hundreds of missed calls and messages poured in. Before she could read them, Vanessa Wen's call came through, her voice filled with relief at Lily's survival and deep concern. As Lily Qiao, dressed in a simple t-shirt and pants bought from the hospital shop, walked out of the hospital entrance, she immediately saw Vanessa and another tall figure standing beside her. Before she could get a clear look, that figure rushed towards her, pulling her into a tight embrace. It was an embrace filled with the fear of loss, now replaced by relief and long-suppressed anger. Sis, a voice, so familiar it made her heart tremble, sounded in her ear, hoarse and pained. Did you get married just to end up like this? Sis. The address instantly transported Lily Qiao back to the glorious years 3 years ago. Her body stiffened, and she slowly looked up, recognizing the face before her. It was Evan. The once spirited young man who used to follow her, now shed his youthful innocence, his eyes sharper, more restrained. How did you get here? Don't even start. Vanessa complained from the side. When I couldn't reach you yesterday, he almost tore my company apart. Only then did Lily Qiao realize that Evan had been frantic after hearing the news last night. He held her tightly, as if she would disappear if he let go. If only I had stopped you before you married him. His voice was filled with regret. After the three were seated in the restaurant, Evan E. told Lily Chiao that he had used his family connections to ensure none of the top 4 law firms in the capital would take the Gu family's case. Sis has been good to me, so of course I should repay her. He served her soup, pushing her favorite dishes towards her. In his gentle and considerate demeanor, there was no trace of the capital's former wild child. When they had almost finished eating, Evan E. put down his chopsticks, his eyes, usually containing a lazy smile, now looking at her with extreme seriousness. When do you plan to divorce? Before Lily Chiao could answer, the anger in his eyes could no longer be suppressed. Don't tell me that after all this, you still don't plan to divorce him. What's so great about Ethan Gu that you're so reluctant to let go? Do I have to go over there, grab him by the head, and force you two to divorce? His voice was filled with the bitter disappointment of seeing someone not living up to their potential. Lily Chiao looked at him, then lowered her gaze to her ring finger, now bare. After a long moment, she looked up, meeting Evan E. and Vanessa Wen's concerned gazes, and stated calmly, word by word, I will divorce him. Her voice was very soft, yet it carried an unprecedented firmness, as if she were saying it to them, and even more, to herself. Like you said, there's nothing good about Ethan Gu. Naturally, I have nothing to be reluctant about. Whatever feelings I had for him have long been worn away, little by him. I will divorce him. As these words calmly left Lily Chiao's lips, Evan Yi's usually playful eyes, which always held a hint of mischievousness, instantly sparkled with a brilliant light. It was the relief of 3 years of suppressed anger finally finding an outlet, the joy of a lost treasure finally being able to be cherished once more. It's settled, he immediately said, like a child eager for praise. I'll find you the best legal team in the capital, guaranteeing he leaves with nothing. No need. Lily Chiao shook her head. I want to handle this myself. She didn't want this inevitably ending marriage to drag into a protracted lawsuit. A swift and decisive cut was her only desire now. After finishing her statement at the police station, Evan E. insisted on taking Lily Chiao home. As the sleek Aston Martin pulled up to the villa, Ethan Gu happened to be standing by the window. He watched Lily Chiao alight from the expensive sports car, bidding farewell to the man in the driver's seat, and an unidentifiable rage instantly surged to his head. Who brought you back just now? Benjamin White. Lily Chiao was met with his cold interrogation the moment she stepped inside. A former colleague from my military unit. Lily Chiao couldn't be bothered to argue with him. She just wanted to go upstairs and wash away her exhaustion. But he grabbed her arm, his eyes filled with the anger and suspicion of betrayal. A colleague from your military unit? When did your military colleagues start driving sports cars worth millions? You keep accusing me of cheating, but I think the one truly cheating is you. When exactly did you get involved with Benjamin White? Benjamin White and I have no relationship whatsoever. Lily Chiao shook off his hand, looking at him with disgust. Ethan Gu, you're despicable. Don't assume everyone else is like you. Then tell me, why did Benjamin White answer when I called you? Why did he say you were asleep? You were sleeping next to him, weren't you? His voice trembled with agitation. Yes, I was asleep. Lily Chiao's eyes were colder than his expression at that moment. Thanks to your mother and sister, I was drugged. Benjamin White took me to the hospital, and I fell asleep after they gave me a sedative. Does that answer satisfy you? Ethan Gu instantly froze, the color draining from his face. When Lily Chiao came out of the shower, he was waiting for her by the bed, a hint of awkward apology on his face. Lily, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have doubted you. I know what my mother and sister did hurt you deeply, but they are family, after all. Could you issue a letter of understanding? I will not. Lily Chiao's answer was crisp and clear. They are my mother and sister, he urged. So what? Lily Chiao looked at him as if he were a stranger. Because they are your family, I should forgive everything they did to me? If they had succeeded yesterday, do you know what I would have faced? I would have been manipulated like an object by 2 men, and your sister would have filmed it all and spread it online, trampling my dignity into the dirt. Would you expect me to forgive them then? Her every question struck him like a heavy hammer, leaving Ethan Gu speechless. He looked at her utterly disappointed, cold eyes, and a suffocating pain surged in his chest. I promise it won't happen again. He stepped forward, embracing her tightly from behind, as if trying to hold on to everything that was about to vanish with his body heat. Lily, I'll treat you well. I'll treat you doubly well from now on. That embrace, once her most cherished warmth, now only made her feel cold and hypocritical. Calmly, one by one, she pried his fingers from around her waist. Then she turned to face him, and with a tone that declared the final outcome, she said, Ethan Gu, I'm moving out. Until our divorce is final, let's not see each other again. You're moving out? He stared at her in shock. I don't want to live here anymore. She paused, then added, also, the 100 million your mother promised? I don't want it. Let's get a divorce. This fact humiliated him more than any verbal insult. She would rather have nothing than stay with him. He practically fled the villa. Over the next few days, Ethan Gu was overwhelmed. The bail money for his mother and sister was an enormous sum, and none of the 4 top law firms in the capital would take his case. At the company, The capital chain was in jeopardy due to the investors' withdrawal, and several important projects were stalled. In his anxiety, he belatedly realized that all the smooth sailing he had taken for granted in the past was due to Lily Qiao quietly handling everything behind the scenes. His wife, whom he considered an ordinary employee, was actually the company's true pillar of stability. In the club's private room, Sophia Song thoughtfully poured him a drink, comforting him softly. Don't worry regarding Mrs. Gu and Clara's situation, I'll ask my uncle for help. As for the company's funds, if young Master Evan from the Yi family is willing to help, it's just a word from him. Evan Yi. The name, like a lifeline, rekindled hope in Ethan Gu's eyes. Sophia Song watched his eager expression, a hint of disdain flashing in her eyes. She took his arm and led him to another more luxurious private room nearby. As the private room door opened, Mr. Song, Sophia's uncle, was beaming as he toasted the young man lounging casually on the sofa in the main seat. The man, impeccably dressed in casual wear, had a refined and elegant appearance, with a faint, almost imperceptible smile on his lips. It was indeed Evan Yi. Uncle, I brought Ethan over to say hello to you and young Master Evan, Sophia Song said, smiling. Mr. Song immediately gave a glowing introduction, showering Ethan Gu with exaggerated praise, calling him a rare talent in the tech world. Young and promising? Evan Yi finally lifted his eyelids lazily, but his beautiful, expressive eyes were full of cold mockery. Is Mr. Song joking with me? A man who cheats in his marriage, built his career on his wife's back, and then tries to kick her aside once he's successful. Does that really qualify as young and promising? One sentence instantly froze the air in the entire private room. Ethan Gu and Sophia Song's faces turned scarlet. The humiliating scene at the banquet had already spread throughout their social circles. Misunderstanding, young Master Evan. It's all a misunderstanding. Mr. Song quickly tried to smooth things over. Yes, Sophia and I are just friends. Ethan Gu also offered a dry explanation. Friends? Evan Yi scoffed. He put down his glass, leaning slightly forward, his usually smiling eyes now like poisoned knives, slowly carving away Ethan Gu's dignity. You two are quite intimate friends, aren't you? I heard that last month. Your wife went alone, utterly isolated, to the airport to welcome the ashes of her parents who died for their country. And you, her good husband, at that time, were accompanying your good friend here to the hospital to see her mother's twisted ankle. Mr. Gu, I'm not wrong, am I? In the private room of the club, the air seemed to freeze with Evan Yi's words. Ethan Gu's face, under the crystal lights, appeared exceptionally pale. He never imagined that Evan Yi knew so much about his family affairs, even down to such specific details. At that time, Sophia's mother suddenly got injured. It happened so fast. He was still futilely trying to explain, but his voice had lost its conviction. What kind of injury is a twisted ankle? Evan Yi's gaze, like two ice-tempered daggers, fiercely stabbed into his heart. It seems that in your mind, your friend's mother's ankle is far more important than the heroic spirits of your wife's parents. Liu Lu, oblivious to the danger, interjected. How can the dead compare to the living? It's just picking up ashes. She could do it alone. This remark was like lighting a fuse to a powder keg. Evan Yi's eyes suddenly blazed with a terrifying coldness. He rose abruptly, striding over to Liu Lu in one swift move. What did you just say? His voice was squeezed through clenched teeth. Liu Lu hadn't yet realized the danger, still stubbornly repeating. I said, how can the dead compare to the living? Slap. A crisp, loud slap landed heavily on Liu Lu's face. He staggered, almost knocking over the coffee table behind him. Young Master Evan, you've gone too far. Ethan Gu stepped forward, trying to defend his friend. Too far. Evan Yi's face was filled with furious aggression. I damn well wish I hit him harder. Before he finished speaking, he delivered a powerful kick to Liu Lu's chest. Liu Lu screamed, collapsing to the floor. Evan Yi stepped forward, placing his expensive, custom-made leather shoe heavily on Liu Lu's chest, pinning him down. Do I need to be reasonable when dealing with an animal? Evan Yi looked down at him, his eyes cold. Lily Qiao's parents. Are they something for trash like you to comment on? Liu Lu struggled, still trying to prove his loyalty in front of Ethan Gu. What is Lily Qiao anyway? 3 years married to Ethan, and all she did was slack off. Everyone knows Sophia is the right choice. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Evan Yi laughed, enraged. The person he cherished and revered like a goddess was being utterly debased by this scum. And what was even more laughable was that Ethan Gu, her husband, had not said a single word in her defense throughout. Evan Yi's gaze shifted to Ethan Gu. Do you also think your wife is inferior to Sophia Song? Ethan Gu hesitated for a moment, then finally spoke. Lily Qiao is indeed inferior to Sophia in temperament and capability. But she is my wife, after all. This statement completely exhausted Evan Yi's last bit of patience. He retracted his foot, looking at Ethan Gu with utter scorn. Her capabilities? How much do you even know? Ethan Gu, without her, how do you think your crumbling company managed to go public in 3 years? That was Ethan's keen foresight and outstanding ability. Sophia Song immediately stepped forward to defend him. Ethan Gu's silence was an implicit agreement with her statement. Nonsense. Evan E. scoffed disdainfully. Ethan Gu, let me tell you, without Lily Qiao, you are nothing. Your so-called keen eye, your self-congratulatory abilities, all of it was because she was helping you. What capabilities does Lily Qiao have? Leo Lu, now picking himself up from the floor, still argued defiantly. My Lily. Vanessa Wen stood up, her voice clear and strong. Graduated from the National Defense University, the top science student in the capital that year. Is that good enough? If your brother was truly capable, he wouldn't try to renege on a mere 1.53 million for a divorce settlement. 1.53 million. The figure sent a ripple of astonishment through the room. Everyone had thought Lily Qiao was making exorbitant demands, only to discover she was asking for such a small amount. The tide of public opinion instantly reversed. Ethan Gu, Lily Qiao's gaze, like two cold blades, pierced his heart. You can have the patent, but I demand that 1.53 million today. Lily Qiao, why must you push me so hard? He was furious and humiliated. I'm pushing you. Lily Qiao sneered, pulling out a thick stack of documents from her bag. She dramatically tossed them onto the press table. Here are the invoices for jewelry you bought from Miss Sophia Song from your private accounts over the past 2 years, totaling over 50 million. And now you tell me you can't come up with 1.53 million. Flashbulbs immediately flickered madly. All cameras aimed at Sophia Song's ashen face, and the millions worth of jewelry on her neck and ears. She frantically tried to remove them, but it was too late. That's because Lily Qiao cheated. Clara Gu, pushed to the brink, finally played her last, most vicious card. She held up her phone, and on the screen were several photos of Lily Qiao and Evan E. drinking on the terrace, taken from an awkward angle, making them appear intimately close. I was there too. That was my house. Vanessa Wen shouted angrily. You're her friend, of course you'd take her side. Toy boy, Evan E., who had been silent, finally smiled. He calmly walked onto the stage, looking down at Clara Gu, his gaze like one reserved for a dead object. This is the first time I've heard someone call me that. Miss, are you sure you can take legal responsibility for what you just said? Why not? The photos are evidence. Defamation can lead to a maximum of 3 years in prison. Evan Yi's tone was light, yet carried immense weight. Last night, the person who picked me up was my uncle, Arthur Xing, the lawyer. I think his testimony should be more convincing than your photos. Or do you think Mr. Xing would also lie for us? Arthur Xing. The name made Clara Gu's legs instantly buckle. On the shooting range, the air seemed to freeze. Evan Yi's languid voice, however, sliced through Benjamin White's carefully cultivated oppressive aura like a sharp knife. He had appeared there at some unknown point, now walking slowly, each step carrying the undeniable presence typical of a young master from the capital's elite circles. Sis, Vanessa said you were here, so I came to pick you up. He walked over to Lily Qiao, naturally pulled down her hand, which was still gripping Benjamin White's collar. He looked up, directly into the eyes of the most unapproachable man in the capital. He said, word for word, Mr. White, if you wish to challenge me, I'm ready anytime. But to suggest my sister accompany you, are you dreaming? Benjamin White's handsome brows furrowed slightly. He looked at Evan E. and Lily Qiao's clasped hands, finding it incredibly jarring, just as he had been that day at the hospital entrance when he saw Evan embracing her. Nothing in this world is certain, Evan E. said, leading Lily Qiao away, dropping a final remark. Perhaps you think you're the hunter, but unwittingly, you've become someone else's prey. Watching their retreating figures, Benjamin White murmured softly, as if asking his secretary, or perhaps himself, Mr. Wu, tell me, will I become the prey? Outside the shooting range, Lily Qiao said to Evan E. with a hint of lingering fear. You spoke to him like that just now. Aren't you afraid he'll actually come after you? Since I dared to say it. Naturally, I'm not afraid. Evan Yi's face held a composure and confidence beyond his years. Sis, I'm not the naive young man I used to be. If he wants to target me, he'll have to be prepared for both of us to suffer damage. He paused, then retorted. Besides, didn't you also speak so fiercely to him for my sake just now, sis? Lily Qiao was momentarily speechless. She just instinctively didn't want Evan E. to be dragged into this. Evan, I'm different from you, she said softly. You have family, you have a future. I'm all alone. Who says you're all alone? He abruptly cut her off, gripping her hand tightly, his usually smiling eyes now holding an unprecedented seriousness. He said, Sis, if something happens to you, I don't know about others, but I would definitely give my life to avenge you. Lily Qiao stared at him. The young man who once needed her constant care had, without her realizing it, grown into a man who could shield her from hardship. At Evan Yi's request, they went to the funeral home together. Before Lily Qiao's parents' urns, Evan E. solemnly bowed 3 times. Evan E., word by word, made a promise. Uncle and Auntie, please rest assured, I will take good care of Lily Qiao and never let her suffer harm again. He said Lily Qiao, not sis. Just then, Lily Qiao's mobile phone rang. It was Ethan Gu. The moment she answered, his exasperated interrogation began. Why did you move everything out of your villa? I've moved out. If you see anything else of mine, just throw it away. You want to discuss divorce, do you? Fine. Come back to the villa now, and we'll talk. Ethan Gu said, then hung up. Lily Qiao put away her phone, met Evan Yi's worried gaze, and nodded. Yes, it's time for Ethan and me to put an end to things. Returning to the cold villa, Ethan Gu was already waiting in the living room. He looked at her, his eyes filled with struggle and unwillingness. Are you really so determined to divorce? All because of some minor issues. Minor issues? Lily Qiao found it laughable. Your mother and sister almost ruined me. Is that a minor issue? Your entanglement with Sophia Song. Is that a minor issue? They've been detained and paid the price. Sophia and I are just friends. We've never slept together. He was still defending himself. Then do you dare to announce, in front of everyone, that you're married? You don't. Lily Qiao cut through all his pretenses. Because in your heart, I, your wife, make you feel ashamed. That's why everyone around you looks down on me. Ethan Gu's face turned red then white. He wanted to retort, but found himself unable to speak. After a long while, he seemed to grasp at a last straw, turning to accuse her. What about you? You have so many patents, you're a drone expert. Why did you never tell me? Didn't I tell you? Lily Qiao looked at him mockingly. I did, but what did you say at the time? You said I was bragging, and that I was jealous of Sophia Song. Ethan Gu was speechless. He finally remembered that he had indeed dismissed her talent as a joke. Ethan Gu, we're divorcing because being with you is too exhausting. Lily Qiao looked at him calmly, her eyes completely lifeless. 3 years of marriage have worn away the last bit of feeling I had for you. These words, like a dull knife, deeply pierced his heart. He hadn't even realized that his voice at this moment was trembling slightly. You have no feelings for me anymore. Yes, none at all. He seemed completely enraged and began to speak wildly. Is it because of Evan E? First Benjamin White, now Evan E. Lily Qiao, you certainly know how to attract men. Were you already fooling around in the military camp? Slap. A loud slap landed hard on his face. Ethan Gu, the camaraderie in the military is a bond forged in life and death. It will not be insulted by your despicable mind. Lily Qiao's voice was firm and powerful, every word a judgment on his vileness. He clutched his stinging face, finally seeming to be drained of all strength, and said dejectedly, Fine, divorce. I agree. Ethan Gu said, but the drone control program patent you applied for during our marriage must be licensed to Gu Tech. Lily Qiao's face instantly darkened. She hadn't expected him to be so despicable even at the very last step. What if I don't give it to you? Then I'll sue you. It's our marital property. Don't think you can take it to your friend's company. He threatened her with an almost scoundrel-like tone. Lily Qiao looked at him, the disappointment in her eyes finally turning into utter contempt. She had once thought he at least possessed some of a startup entrepreneur's integrity and pride. Turns out, she was wrong again. All right, she suddenly smiled, a smile uglier than tears. You can have the patent. Lily Qiao said, but you must hold a press conference in front of all media and announce our divorce. Then, we go straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the paperwork. You're serious? Ethan Gu hadn't expected her to agree so readily. I'm serious. Good. I'll hold the press conference in 3 days. He looked at her with heavy eyes, as if seeing a tool about to be drained of its last value. Lily Qiao looked at him, at the man she once loved, at his now slightly distorted face, calculating and triumphant. Finally, she used her last ounce of strength to utter the words she should have spoken long ago. Ethan Gu, in this life, I, Lily Qiao, have never regretted anything. But now, I truly regret marrying you. Vanessa Wen was so angry when she heard the divorce conditions that she almost slammed her steering wheel. Are you really going to give him that priceless patent? Giving him the patent doesn't mean he can use it. A cold glint flashed in Lily Qiao's eyes. My things aren't that easy to take. Lily Qiao only asked for $1.53 million, which was her parents' death benefit, the money she had initially given him to start his business. She wanted back what belonged to her parents. Meanwhile, a hint of greed flashed in Sophia Song's eyes after hearing Ethan Gu's plan. She feigned comfort, but inwardly she was calculating how to seize both the patent and Ethan Gu for herself. Days later, in the hallway of Cloud Airlines, Lily Qiao encountered Ethan Gu and Sophia Song face to face. She had just emerged from the executive office, her expression calm. Lily Qiao, what are you doing here? Are you here to spread rumors about me again? Sophia Song shrieked, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Ethan Gu also frowned at her, warning, if you dare to affect Sophia's work because of your personal issues, I will not forgive you. Lily Qiao looked at the perfect couple before her, finding it laughable. She spoke coldly, her voice not loud, but clear enough for everyone nearby to hear. Lily Qiao said, who would waste time spreading rumors about someone they don't care about? Ethan Gu, you no longer hold that much significance in my heart. She then turned to Sophia Song. a hint of pity in her eyes. My divorce from him is his fault. He was unfaithful to our marriage, disrespectful to his wife. Lily Qiao continued, I don't want trash like him anymore. If you like him, feel free to pick him up. The evening breeze on the terrace was exceptionally gentle, carrying the last warmth of late summer. 3 people, several pitchers of beer, a pile of sizzling grilled skewers. A celebration party for a new beginning was underway. A few drinks later, Vanessa Wen's cheeks flushed pink. Her eyes hazy with drink, she pointed at Evan E. and slurred. I say, Evan, Lily's divorcing what? What are you so happy about? My sister is free from misery. Of course I'm happy. Evan E. retorted, confidently clinking glasses. That's true. Vanessa chuckled, as if recalling some incredible gossip. She leaned towards Lily Qiao's ear. Vanessa Wan, in a voice loud enough for the entire terrace to hear, blurted out. Lily, you have no idea. Back then when you got married, this guy cried his eyes out, tears streaming down like they were free. Evan Yi's face flushed instantly, right down to his neck. He frantically tried to cover Vanessa's mouth, but she deftly dodged him. You know. He looked at Lily Qiao awkwardly, like a boy caught doing something wrong. Yes, Vanessa mentioned it. Lily Qiao's eyes held an unmelting, gentle smile. Lily Qiao couldn't imagine that Evan E., who never uttered a sound, no matter how badly he was injured in the military, would cry so heartbrokenly over her marriage. Somewhere in her heart, this belated news gently stirred something. It was my fault, she initiated, a hint of apology in her voice. I didn't tell you all when I got married. I'm sorry I made you sad. Yes, back then, I was truly very sad. Evan Yi's eyes, fueled by alcohol, became exceptionally deep. Sadness, because he had only just understood his feelings, but she was already someone else's wife. But then, he raised his glass again, and his beautiful, expressive eyes rekindled with light. But now I'm very happy. I'm so happy you're divorcing. He tilted his head back, downing the drink in his glass. A few drops of red liquid slid down the corner of his mouth and disappeared into his collar, adding a touch of unrestrained sexiness. He looked at her, his gaze hazy yet earnest. After you divorce, there's something I want to tell you. On the day of the press conference, Vanessa Wen insisted on accompanying Lily Qiao. You're getting divorced. I'm your family support. I have to be there to hold down the fort. Family support. These 3 words filled Lily Qiao's heart with a warm current. In the hotel lounge, the first people they encountered were Mrs. Gu and Clara Gu, out on bail. Old enemies meeting, their eyes blazed with fury. Mrs. Gu shrieked, raising her hand to slap Lily Qiao's face. You harlot. Are you only satisfied when you've sent us all to prison? The slap was intercepted midair. Lily Qiao coldly pushed her hand away. Mrs. Gu immediately threw a tantrum on the spot, wailing loudly. Oh, the horror. Daughter-in-law beating her mother-in-law. Ethan Gu and Sophia Song appeared just then. Clara Gu immediately rushed to complain. Ethan Gu frowned, looking at Lily Qiao, and commanded her in an unquestionable tone. She's my mother, and I believe her. Apologize immediately. Don't make a scene before the press conference. Lily Qiao laughed, a deeply ironic laugh. She said nothing, simply opened her mobile phone, and played a video she had just recorded. The video clearly showed Mrs. Gu rushing to hit Lily Qiao, and then staging her own dramatic collapse after being pushed away. Ethan Gu's face instantly turned a deep crimson. At the press conference, Ethan Gu sat in the main seat, cleared his throat, and began his performance. He first announced the decision to divorce Miss Lily Qiao. Ethan Gu then abruptly changed his tone, stating with a righteous demeanor, Miss Lily Qiao's drone patent, applied for during our marriage, will belong to Gu Tech after the divorce. Ethan Gu continued, and I, in turn, will offer Miss Lily Qiao financial compensation with a portion of my personally held company shares. What? Lily Qiao suddenly stood up, staring coldly at Ethan Gu. Lily Qiao realized he was using worthless, locked-up company shares to renege on the promised one. 53 million in cash, and trying to claim her patent for free? He had an excellent scheme. This isn't what we agreed upon. Yes, I did promise you cash. Ethan Gu's face held a nauseatingly sorrowful look. But this is a critical period for the company's development. Are you really going to disregard the company's survival for your personal gain? He successfully portrayed himself as a tragic hero dedicated to the company, while pushing Lily Qiao into the role of a selfish opportunist. The company executives below the stage immediately looked at Lily Qiao with displeasure. Mrs. Gu and Clara Gu immediately jumped out, one accusing her of being money-grubbing, the other complaining that she wanted to bleed the company dry. How laughable. Trying to claim someone else's patent for free after a divorce, and wanting them to leave with nothing. This method of sucking her dry is worse than a vampire. A languid voice drifted from the entrance of the venue. Evan E. walked in slowly, followed by several stern-faced bodyguards in black, instantly drawing everyone's attention. Ethan Gu's face changed, but he forced himself to say, that patent is marital property, so it belongs to the company. There's nothing wrong with that. Your brother studied finance. Does he understand programming or drones? Evan Yi's gaze was like one reserved for a clown. What capabilities does Lily Chow have? Clara Gu shrieked defiantly. My Lily. Vanessa Wen stood up, her voice clear and resonant. Graduated from the National Defense University, the top science student in the capital that year. Is that qualified enough? Vanessa Wen continued. If your brother were truly capable, he wouldn't try to renege on a mere $53 million for a divorce settlement. $53 million. The figure caused an uproar. Everyone had thought Lily Chow was making exorbitant demands, but she was only asking for such a small amount. The public opinion instantly reversed. Ethan Gu, Lily Chow's gaze, like two cold blades, pierced his heart. You can have the patent, but I demand that $53 million today. Lily Chow, why must you push me so hard? He was furious and humiliated. I'm pushing you. Lily Chow sneered, pulling out a thick stack of documents from her personal bag. She dramatically tossed them towards the press seats. Lily Chow said, here are the invoices from the past 2 years, from your private accounts, for jewelry purchased for Miss Sophia Song, totaling over $50 million. Now you tell me you can't come up with $53 million. Flashbulbs flickered madly. All cameras focused on Sophia Song's ashen face, and the tens of millions worth of jewelry on her neck and ears. She frantically tried to remove them, but it was too late. That's because Lily Chow cheated. Clara Gu, pushed to the brink, finally threw down her last, most vicious card. Clara Gu held up her mobile phone, and on the screen were several photos of Lily Chow and Evan E. drinking on the terrace, taken from an awkward angle, making them appear intimately close. I was there too. That's my house. Vanessa Wen yelled angrily. You're her friend? Of course you'd take her side. Toy boy, Evan E., who had been silent, finally smiled. He calmly walked onto the stage, looking down at Clara Gu, his gaze like one reserved for a dead object. Evan E. said, this is the first time I've heard someone call me that. Miss, are you sure you can take legal responsibility for what you just said? What's there not to be responsible for? The photos are evidence. Defamation can lead to a maximum of 3 years in prison. Evan Yi's tone was light, yet carried immense weight. Evan E. continued. Last night, the person who picked me up was my uncle, Arthur Shing, the lawyer. I think his testimony should be more convincing than your photos. Evan E. asked, or do you think Mr. Shing would also lie for us? Arthur Shing. The name made Clara Gu's legs instantly buckle. Clara Gu felt a chill run through her. Evan Yi's usually playful, expressive eyes were now like two bottomless, cold pools, making her feel as if she would be dragged in and drowned at any moment. She didn't even dare to look at the eyes of the other guests, those gazes of pity, disdain, and schadenfreude, like countless red-hot needles, piercing her relentlessly. In this suffocating silence, an old but strong voice, like a booming bell, rang out from the entrance of the hall. Who dares to slander my niece? Lily Chow sharply turned her head to see an old man, dressed in plain clothes but still exuding the aura of a military veteran, striding in. And by his side, walking closely, was none other than Benjamin White. General Zhu. Lily Chow quickly went to meet him, her eyes instantly reddening. You child. General Zhu looked at her, his eyes full of tenderness and reproach. Such a big thing as getting divorced today? Why didn't you tell me? Your parents are gone. I am your elder, your family support. How could I not come? Family support. These two words completely broke down Lily Chow's last emotional barrier. Yes, she wasn't alone. She still had General Zhu, who watched her grow up, and her comrades, whom she considered family. Not for long. Mrs. Gu, oblivious to the danger, interjected. My son doesn't want a woman like Lily Chow. It's your son who isn't worthy of our Lily. General Zhu glared, pointing at Ethan Gu's nose. A man who wouldn't even go to welcome the ashes of his wife's parents. What right does he have to be Lily's husband? Pa, ashes are such bad luck. Who would go get them? That day she brought them back and wanted to keep them in the house. If I hadn't slapped her, she would have brought bad luck to our Gu family. Mrs. Gu spoke with increasing smugness, completely failing to notice the ashen faces of General Zhu and Evan E. Vanessa Wen's tears, at this moment, finally flowed freely. She finally understood how much suffering Lily Chow had endured behind her calm demeanor. Hit them. A cold, emotionless word escaped Benjamin White's lips. His bodyguards immediately stepped forward, and a resounding slap landed hard on Mrs. Gu's face, cutting off all her malicious words. The entire hall was shocked. Lily Chow, you told them to stop. Is this what you wanted? Ethan Gu tried to step forward, but was firmly held back by the bodyguards, only able to roar at Lily Chow. Lily Chow merely pressed her lips together, saying nothing. Humiliate her, fine. But humiliating her parents, who had died for their country, was absolutely not allowed. I will take responsibility for this. Benjamin White's voice rang out again, cold as a Siberian wind. For any injuries, major or minor, all expenses will be borne by the White family. Mrs. Gu finally panicked, crying and appealing to her son for help. Isn't it just money you want? Fine, I'll give it to you. Ethan Gu, driven to desperation, roared at Lily Qiao. The sound of slapping finally ceased. Lily Qiao looked at him, and word by word, clearly stated, "I'm not asking you to give me money. I'm asking you to return it. Back then, when you had no money to start your business, it was I, with 153 million in cash, who gave it to you. You're an orphan. Where did you get so much money?" Clara Gu still stubbornly argued. That was Lily's parents' death benefit. Vanessa finally couldn't hold back, crying as she blurted out this shocking truth. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. Ethan Gu's pupils, at that moment, suddenly constricted. He looked at Lily Qiao in disbelief, and in his mind, the image of her handing him the money with sad eyes merged with Vanessa Wen's words. Why didn't you tell me then?" His voice was hoarse, as if rubbed with sandpaper. "Because I didn't want to burden you," Lily Qiao said faintly. At that time, she still loved him, and still held hope for him. "Brother, don't believe her." "Enough," Ethan Gu sharply interrupted his sister. Regret, pain, self-reproach. Countless emotions, like a giant hand, tightly gripped his heart, leaving him breathless. That money, it turned out, was so heavy. That money, it should have been hers. It was he who owed her. This money. He looked at her, speaking with difficulty. "Tomorrow, I will return it to you." A press conference that was supposed to be a triumphant victory for the Gu family ended up as a notorious farce. After the conference, General Zhu pulled Lily Qiao aside and, with some difficulty, explained that the military had an important collaboration with the White family. Benjamin White had recently been targeted by assassins, and they hoped she could serve as his personal bodyguard for 3 months. "There are many people in the military more skilled than me," Lily Qiao frowned. "But you are the only one I trust." Benjamin White appeared behind them at some point. Ultimately, not to cause difficulty for General Zhu, Lily Qiao agreed. 3 months, for peace of mind, and for a definitive end. That evening, Ethan Gu returned to the empty villa and locked himself in the bedroom. In the closet, on the dressing table, all traces of Lily Qiao had vanished completely, as if she had never lived there. She was like a wind, about to disappear completely from his world. He opened the bedside table drawer, and in the deepest part, he saw the 2 cheap rings lying quietly there. They were wedding rings he had bought for $200 at a night market. He still remembered how he had solemnly promised her, "When I get rich, I'll buy you the biggest diamond ring." But he had gotten rich. He had bought Sophia Song tens of millions worth of jewelry, yet he had completely forgotten to buy his wife a proper wedding ring. They hadn't even taken a single wedding photo. Intense regret, like a tide, submerged him. He tightly gripped the 2 rings, which dug painfully into his palm. He had to return that 153 million to her. His mother and sister couldn't produce the money, so he had no choice but to go to Sophia Song. When he awkwardly suggested that she pawn a few pieces of jewelry he had given her to raise the 153 million, a flicker of imperceptible hesitation crossed Sophia Song's face. A flicker of imperceptible hesitation crossed Sophia Song's face. But she quickly agreed. After all, once the divorce was final, Ethan Gu would still be hers. She took out all the jewelry he had given her, spreading it out on a black velvet cloth. The sparkle of diamonds and gemstones almost blinded him. Ethan Gu looked at the dazzling array of jewels, then thought of the $200 wedding rings in his pocket, and an indescribable bitterness welled up in his heart. He had bought so much for Sophia. Why had he never once thought to buy even a single piece for his own wife?